Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are San Diego.
Welcome to Cactus League Baseball. From the desert, it's Peoria, Arizona, and the Peoria Sports Complex. Today, the Cleveland Indians come to visit the San Diego Padres. Welcome inside, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo along with Mark Grant. We welcome you to Padres baseball. Spring training rolls along, and, of course, a lot of spots open in the rotation. One guy we expect to see there is on the mound today. It's Jared Weaver.
12th year in the big leagues. And he's going to be wearing the San Diego Padre uniform. I really get excited, Don, to watch veterans pitch in spring training because they're working on a lot of things. But what's the one thing you think about when you talk about Jared Weaver? Lack of velocity. Low 80s. Last time out, he touched 85 miles an hour. And I think he's a healthier Jared Weaver this year. His hip had some issues last year. Healthy, stronger front side, a firm front side. We'll get into that during the telecast. But he throws all four pitches. He's going to work on his sinker. Darn good sinker. Good command. So a fly ball pitcher working on grounders. We'll see that today from Jared Weaver. Look for him to go about 3 frames this afternoon.
Should be fun to watch here today against the Cleveland Indians, of course, in the World Series last year. Jared Weaver, 11 years in an Angels uniform, his first in a Padres uniform. Bob Scandal will check in on Jared Weaver after this. Presents Padres Baseball, brought to you by Petco, where the healthy pets go. And by Sequan Casino. Play, win together in the heart of San Diego. Welcome back to Peoria Sports Complex. It's the Indians and Padres. But before we get it started, let's send it down to Bob Scanlon.
Thanks, Don. You know, as you and Mark were mentioning in the previous segment, Jared Weaver, a late winter addition to the starting rotation. Yeah, they brought him in for his veteran presence, but even more importantly, they expect him to toe the slab every fifth day and give them successful outings. He believes that that can happen despite a tough season last year for two reasons. Number one, a strong finish. In 3 of his last 4 outings, he allowed 2 earned runs or less, but also he feels healthy this year. That a result of some changes that he made in his conditioning program to take care of that 33-year-old body.
Didn't really take into consideration when I first came up how important stretching and keeping your body limber is, and I never really got into that kind of thing. I was always really good at keeping up with the cardio and the strength and all that stuff, but it's coming along, and I'm feeling 10 times better this spring than I did last spring. So like I said, I'm looking forward to getting back out there.
Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Adjusting the lower body helped release the neck, the shoulder, the back. What does that mean? More velocity? No, not necessarily, but he's back to his normal arm slot, and it's going to allow him to reach out a lot better on that 2-seam fastball to get that sink and keep the ball on the ground as he's done so successfully throughout his major league career. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, Padres, Indians, first pitch coming up right here on Fox Sports San Diego.
Arizona spring training rolls along, and today it's the Indians and Padres from the Peoria Sports Complex, and it is a warm afternoon here in Peoria, maybe the warmest we've had so far this spring. The Padres have taken the field, so let's check out the Cleveland Indians starting 9, and of course last year the Indians in the World Series and losing in 7 games to the team that'll be here tomorrow. Bradley Zimmer, the DH, leading it off with Jose Ramirez at third base, Lonnie Chisenhall in right field with Tyler Naquin in center, Abraham Almonte, former Padre, in left field. Eric Kratz spent a spring training with the Padres, does the catching with Nelly Rodriguez at first base, Michael Martinez at second, and it is Eric Gonzalez at short. Defensively for the Padres, left to right across the outfield, Jabari Blash, Travis Jankowski, and Hunter Renfroe. Third to first, Dusty Coleman, Eric Ibar, Carlos Azuaje, and Will Myers, with Hector Sanchez doing the catching today for Jared Weaver.
And the 34-year-old Jared Weaver making a second appearance in this spring training. Well, the one thing about Jared Weaver, he doesn't throw hard, throws across his body. And the beauty about being a veteran in spring training in his second outing, he's going to work on some things. Darren Balsley told me he's going to work on the two-seamer. try to keep the ball on the ground, because he did say he's, in fact, an extreme fly ball pitcher because he doesn't have that velocity. So goes from the third base side of the rubber, throws it across his body, so some deception in there as well from Jared Weaver.
And his first time out went 2 innings, giving up 4 hits and a run. Ended up walking 3 in that outing. And right now, the velocity, you talk a lot about the velocity for him. It has dropped down to 82 over the last couple of years. And really about him, it's locating more than perhaps the speed of the pitch.
No question about it. You know, there are times when a pitcher throws 85, 83, they're going to get burned. But if they hit their spots and throw the breaking stuff over early for strikes, I think it makes that fastball look a little quicker.
So strike one is extremely important.
It's so cliche, Donald, but you're absolutely right. Very key for any pitcher.
Now Bradley Zimmer, Jose Ramirez, and Lonnie Chisenhall to get it started here in the first inning. Padres have already been over to Goodyear to take on the Indians, and now hosting the Indians, who were here just a couple of days ago to take on the Mariners. It is a warm afternoon here, and fans settling in. Well, there's strike one for Weaver to get it started. Bradley Zimmer, the top of the order, the DH today. And see his numbers from last year in the minors, 130 games a year ago. And we'll take a look at strike two. Hey, look at the rotation, Mud, and it is, I don't want to say wide open, but you expect Weaver to be there near the top.
I totally agree with you. And with that said, Darren Balsley said there's like 8 or 9 legitimate guys that can compete for the rotation. So it's a battle going on there. We saw Jared Cosart last year. We saw Paul Clemens last year. Guys that are capable of starting. Now, if they don't, are they going to be in the bullpen? Who knows? So there is a battle going on there for rotation spots as well.
Swing and a miss, and a good start for Weaver as Zimmer strikes out.
This is just a good old-fashioned fastball. Outer third. And you know what? Later on in the game, the third inning, we're going to have Tony Gwynn Jr. join us. And I'm going to talk to him about a hitter when a pitcher throws below the hitting speed, because Jared Weaver's not overpowering, and how difficult that's going to be for a major league hitter to square that up. So stay tuned.
One down, Jose Ramirez standing in. That is a really good tease.
Yeah, people are calling
Well
neighbors
done.
right now.
Ramirez straightens up here. Well, one strength, no doubt, about this Padres team heading into the year is the bullpen, as it is very strong. And you wonder if one of the guys who do not make the rotation would be a good long guy, or whether Andy Green would want to carry a long guy. Some managers elect not to.
It's always good to carry that guy, I have always felt. There's going to be times when you come to the ballpark, and guess what? I mean, nowadays you get a text or whatever, but hey, we need you to start tonight. You need that guy in the bullpen to be able to adjust and adapt to that. And Don, as you mentioned, it is a hot one here in Peoria. Players seeking shade if you're not in the game. We just saw a shot of the bullpen. It's a hot one.
Weaver's 2-2. And it is lined to first to Snowcomb, but held on to by Will Myers. He'll juggle there inside the first base mitt, but able to hold on for the second out of the inning.
What's Will Myers growing to these days? What would it be, about 6'3"? Seems like the kid is still growing like a weed. 6'3" over there, times his jump perfectly. And that ball actually kind of hooking towards the line there, and with the big frame and the big mitt, it's a big out.
2 down here in the first inning. Lonnie Chisenhall, the batter, and he'll send one to center field that's going to fall in for a base hit. 2-out single here for Chisenhall.
I think if I'm a hitter hitting against Jared Weaver and I get a fastball anyway around that hitting area, I'm going to jump on it. 80. We don't have a gun here today, so I'm guessing low 80s, 83, 84. And that ball is in between the belt buckle and just above the knee a little bit, outer third.
So 2 down and Chisenhall at first base, and it brings up Tyler Naquin. Center fielder, 116 games last year, just under 300 at 296. Double figures in home runs with 14. And in the cleanup spot today for Terry Francona. A lot of fans out on the berm in left center and in right center today on this warm afternoon. Plenty of sunshine, no clouds in the sky.
It's a good day to bronze.
Very good day to bronze. Out there on the berm. Bring your own blanket and hang out there. And right center and left center both here at the Peoria Sports Complex.
See how he twirls the ball like that behind when he's getting the sign? I've always been concerned about pitchers, especially with a run around. You drop that, it's a balk.
Strike over the outside corner.
Of course, he's probably been doing that forever and ever.
This is his 12th major league season, 11 spent.
I'm wondering how many times he's actually, when in contact with the rubber and the runner on, dropped the ball by twirling it like that.
Check on first, and back to the bag is Chisenhall. Andy Green talking today about the positioning at first base for Will Myers, who has been playing off the bag, holding the runner on. And last year the Padres only picked off one base runner, and that was Clayton Richard.
You see the positioning of Will Myers. He's off the bag. If the throw goes to first base, he's actually swiping with his left hand behind his body towards first base. Kind of unorthodox than your traditional holding on the runner at first base. So rather than catching in the left hand and then going across to his right side, he's actually catching it and staying on his left side. Almost like the back door, going through the back door to make the tag at first base.
And the hope is that he can get the tag on the hip on the way back, which is what, and also be in better position should the ball be hit.
Mm-hmm.
But only one pickoff last year. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that.
Not good.
Ball and 2 strikes here to Naquin with a runner at first and 2 down. Popped up, foul ground as Sanchez and Coleman both give chase, but that'll get back into the seats.
I mentioned Weaver throws all 4. That was the old curveball there, the dewdrop in, the yacker. Well, you talk about staying back on the fastball. You got to really stay back on that curveball that he throws. And that's why, you know, as a hitter, I would feel like you get out in front just a little bit, it's going to take the sting out of your bat. And you might flare a couple here and there, but it's going to take that sting out of your bat. If you lunge a little bit too much, you can't stay back on Weaver.
Now pretty close to the plate on the left side is Naquin. Setting up outside is Sanchez, but first to throw to first base, and Chisenhall back to the bag again. Numbers for Naquin having a very good spring, 10 for 18. Swing and a miss, and Weaver has 2 strikeouts in the first inning. The Indians leaving a runner at first base. Great day to be in spring training. The youngsters are here. So is Jared Weaver, signing some autographs. got Andy Green starting 9 today. As Travis Jankowski leads it off in center field. Eric Ibar at short. Will Myers sitting alongside will be at first base. Hunter Renfroe in right. Hector Sanchez does the catching with Jabari Blash in left. Carlos Iswaje at second base. Brett Wallace the DH. And Dusty Coleman getting the start at third base today for the Padres. In the home whites today. Been in the blue jerseys all spring.
I like him. I like him a lot.
Jankowski leading it off, having a very good spring. 333 the batting average so far for Jankowski. 8-4-24. And he does have a home run. It's after 2 all of last year in 131 games in the big leagues. It's a one-hopper, a high hop to Martinez, who throws out Jankowski. Now defensively today for Terry Francona's Cleveland Indians, left to right across the outfield, Abraham Almonte, Tyler Naquin, and Lonnie Chisenhall. Third to first, it is Jose Ramirez, Eric Gonzalez, Michael Martinez, Nelly Rodriguez, and Eric Kratz doing the catching for Corey Kluber, getting the start here today for the Indians. Eric Ibar, 5 for 20 so far during the spring. Pretty aggressive here so far against Kluber, as this one is fouled off over by the Padres dugout.
Just going to be a little aggressive early against the right-hander, the former Cy Young Award winner, so you can avoid that secondary stuff, avoid the punch-out. Yeah, he's a workhorse. Last season, opponents only hitting .216, going 18-9.
This is sharply hit to the backhand. Goes Martinez in the air to make the throw, and a nice play. Michael Martinez at second base for the Indians. Pretty good range right there, and he got a lot on the throw, as it turned out also.
So much going on right there. First of all, the ball hit sharply. This is a one-hopper. Now he's got to direct his attention to first base and throws a strike right at the bill of the cap with the first baseman, Rodriguez, for the nice play. Beautiful play.
So 2 down here in the first inning, and it brings up Will Myers. Will with 2 home runs so far during the spring, 28 last year, and the big number there, 157 games played for Will Myers, and prior to that, keeping him healthy and on the field was the toughest thing to do. But last year, a healthy season and an all-star. I saw the numbers for Corey Kluber, and the one that kind of jumped out at me, a lost art, complete games. He had 3 of them himself. I mean, that's a lot in today's game.
Surprised he didn't have Tommy John surgery. No, that is a lot.
How many innings? He had 215 innings. It's not the most he's ever had. He had 222 the year before, 235 the year before that. So, I mean, he is a workhorse in today's game.
200 innings is the benchmark these days with the bullpen and the certain pitchers that come out of the bullpen, short guys, long guys, middle guys. Although we saw a little different during the World Series, didn't we?
Andrew Miller. And Aroldis Chapman, for that matter, whether he liked it or not.
The specialization of the bullpen.
Myers strikes out, and a good first inning for Kluber. Padres down in order, done with 1 from Peoria without a score.
Padres, giving their insight to what to expect this year, 2017.
Well, the second inning, and it is Abraham Almonte, Eric Kratz, and Nelly Rodriguez to bat here in the inning. Weaver gave up a hit, but had 2 strikeouts in the first inning.
Look at that. Was that a changeup? It's hard to tell because we don't have a radar gun here today, but that ball had some movement to it, dipping down into the zone. Good arm action from Weaver.
Not much of a breeze here today either. We've seen some swirling winds inside Peoria Stadium, and not the case today.
The only cool breeze is to my left.
2-1 pitch is going to miss down and in.
It's Tony Gwynn Jr., yo.
He'll be along in the third inning with us today.
Let's check out the motion of Jared Weaver. He goes from the third base side. Now watch the leg kick. He'll show you name and number, right? And then he'll throw across his body, which throws in a little deception as well. Look at where he lands, over towards the third base line. You would think, oh my gosh, bad shoulder, bad elbow. But you know what? That's the way he's been throwing for years and years. And if you're a right-handed hitter, he's coming right at that hip.
Down and in, upset with himself on the
Really?
the location of that last pitch, and it's a leadoff walk for Almonte.
Sometimes you're going to yank it a little bit. Sometimes the body gets a little bit too quick, and then your arm has to catch up, and then you end up yanking it, and it's out of the zone. That happens. And you know what? As a pitcher, Don, you can recognize that as soon as you let that ball go. There's the foot on the rubber, third base side, see where he lands. And then as soon as that ball is let go, you know something's not right. And the ball's not going to go where you want.
So lead runner on here for the Indians, and here's Eric Kratz. Sharply hits this one back into the seats. Look out.
Strike one.
Kratz out ahead of that pitch. Kratz has been well traveled over the years. Mentioned spring training with the Padres at one point. Time at Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Kansas City, Toronto, Houston. This year trying to catch on with the Indians, and that one runs right up and in. 1-1. That's from Harrisburg, Virginia. Signed as a minor league free agent this offseason by the Indians. Saw some time last year between Houston and Pittsburgh. Bluffed to first by Sanchez. Well, throw, but grabbed the attention of Almonte, who gets back to the bag at first. Now it was clear Weaver wanted to stay in Southern California. 11 years with the Angels, and opportunity opened up here with the Padres, and he signed on. Runner goes, and a foul tip at the dish. So Almonte that time in motion.
I remember watching Jared as an amateur with Long Beach at Petco.
He's a dirtbag.
He was a dirtbag, and it was a college tournament of some sort. My memory is kind of shocker. I can't remember what tournament it was, but I remember him pitching there as a dirtbag.
He's actually in the California State University Long Beach Hall of Fame.
Nice.
Out of Simi Valley High School. Of course, his brother Jeff Weaver, another pitcher, very good pitcher. Throw to first and back to the bag again, Almonte. Jared named his son Aiden after, of course, Nick Aidenhart, who was a teammate of his with the Angels, who passed away in a car accident.
Yep.
After a game he pitched that night in the Anaheim area. Runner goes on the 3-2, and that's ball 4 up and in. Did he swing, though? They check in. No is the answer. Mike Everett, first base umpire, said he didn't offer. And that is now back-to-back walks allowed by Weaver here in the second inning.
This one gets away up, and Kratz, it looks like he kind of holds up a little bit. I thought he went, quite frankly.
If he hits it, it's a double.
It's a little flare over the first baseman's head, but this is where Jared Weaver needs to, and he's been around the block, don't get me wrong. He needs to make one quality pitch here, get a grounder, get a double play, missing up in the zone, try to work that two-seamer maybe that he's been working with Darren Bosley in the bullpens, and have his infielders work for him.
So a real test for him here in the second inning. Here's Nelly Rodriguez, and there's a curveball. It's in there for a strike.
It seemed like it took forever for that curveball to get it. Just hung up there, suspended in the air.
Like Levon Hernandez-ish.
Yes. Yeah.
No, and buy him. You come back with that.
That's a heater. Like 83,
Looks
84.
even faster after that big looping curveball.
You make a good point, though. That's why it's so important. Soft, very soft early, and then you buzz the 83-mile-an-hour cheese.
Soft stuff early, the educated cheese later.
That's like cheese whiz. It's not like real like sharp cheese, sharp cheddar. It's like cheese whiz.
Look out. And he backs him off. Speaking of smelly cheese, do you really not have your shoes on? It's like 94 degrees here today.
Airing
you were
out
on
the
the
dogs.
field for half an hour, and you had shoes on with socks, and now there's nothing. And I got to tell you, it is really, really bad.
I'm so comfortable right
It's
now.
foul.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Pick
Pickoff
off.
play at second, and he is back safely, barely.
I love that move, especially in spring training, because you've got nobody out. You've got multiple base runners. Why not try to catch somebody napping on the base paths? You're working on it. It's a timing play. The second baseman comes in. As soon as he breaks, Weaver spins and throws. Almonte was all over it, though.
Rodriguez swinging away and sending one down the right field line. Renfroe gives chase, but it's well back into the seats. So you're not afraid to throw into any base?
No, you have to. Spring training, yeah, I was a big proponent of that. Yeah, because
Not worried about firing it into center field?
no, you got to
adding
work
to the
on it. You'd
problem?
rather have it happen now, right? Get your infielders used to your move. Get used to throwing that bag.
Seems like so many pitchers today have trouble doing that.
Yes,
I
they
think
do.
of John Lester, of course, last year with the Cubs and their opening day starter this year. Throwing to bases is an issue for a lot of pitchers. It becomes a thing.
It's a mental thing.
Yeah.
They call it the thing. He's got the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even watch pitchers that
Go through
remember
the
Rick
thing.
Ankiel?
Yes, absolutely.
I couldn't
remember
watch.
Hank.
I could not watch.
Came back as an outfielder in the big leagues.
I don't wish that upon anybody.
To left, and that's in for a base hit. Almonte will be sent around. Blash with a bobble out there. He'll throw to third base, and there at third will be out. Eric Kratz coming in. So a run does come in for the Indians on the base hit to left field for Nelly Rodriguez. That puts Cleveland on top 1-0. Blash out there with a bobble. He may have had a play at the plate, but definitely had a play at third base, getting Kratz 7-5 on the throw out there. And Rodriguez remains at first base.
I thought for sure he had a shot at the plate. The ball not hit that hard, but a good charge out in left field by Blash. Watch him come. Okay, he's got a beat on it, and then the clank on the heel of the glove. By the time that ball hit his glove, Almonte was just touching third base. We will never know, but they do get an out at third.
And Jabari Blash getting lots of playing time here during spring training and opening some eyes, especially offensively so far during the spring. As Michael Martinez will take strike one over the inside corner. And a nice play defensively already in this game at second base. High numbers between the Indians and Red Sox a year ago. An open stance, at least to begin. And a pretty good rip there.
I can understand why they want to dial it up just a little bit more hitters when the guys like Weaver's on the hill. And that could work to the advantage of Jared Weaver.
0-2. In the dirt, gets away from Sanchez. And Rodriguez will take in second base without a problem. Wild pitch charge to Weaver. A little different second inning than he had in the first. Had pretty good control in the first, but a couple walks in the inning, and now this wild pitch.
Well, Hector did everything he could. He was in the right position off the chest protector. That ball just checks up to the right and heads up base running by Rodriguez. As soon as he saw daylight, he was off.
1-2. And just gets a piece to stay alive.
See how far he was lunging on that curveball? Great location on the number 2 as well. Outer half.
Weaver went 2 innings in his first start, his second start of the spring. Evens up at 2-2. He's allowed 2 hits so far in an inning and a third. A single to Chisenhall in the first and the RBI single for Nelly Rodriguez here in the second.
No problem getting loose today, Don.
No, it's warm enough. Maybe the warmest day of the spring so far here in Peoria.
You know, one other thing that just occurred to me after that last pitch from Weaver. When you don't throw hard, and stay tuned, everybody, because Tony Gwynn Jr. is going to be joining us in the third inning, and we'll talk to him about that. Even though you throw 82, 83, you still have to throw the ball inside. You cannot be afraid to throw the ball inside. Just like that, even though he misses, still makes the hitter aware that he will come inside there. That looked like a little cut fastball.
Weaver wanted it.
Well, let's watch it out of the hand. He wanted it away. He kind of missed a little bit. No, that was a 2-seamer. That, you know what? Hector did a great job of framing. I think he missed the call there.
So full count now. The runner at second base. 1 out here in the top of the second inning. Line to center field. Jankowski moves over and makes the catch. A turn and fire it back into the infield. But a good jump out there from Jankowski, going from left center to right center. And he makes the grab on the line drive. 2 down.
That ball hit hard by the left-handed bat of Martinez. That ball's going to be hooking towards that gap. So you're right. A good read by Travis.
So 2 down. Nelly Rodriguez still at second base. Here's Eric Gonzalez. 21 games in the majors last year, 313. That's out of the 9 spot for Terry Francona today. That time featuring the gas inside.
A lot of people picking the Tribe to win again in the AL Central, and they should.
Lost
right?
Mike Napoli, but added Edwin Encarnacion.
Yep. Still got the core of that team, basically. Got a couple pitchers coming back.
That's the thing. They really were not healthy going into the postseason with.
They had like 2.5 pitchers into the postseason, right?
That's what made Andrew Miller so important. And big part of why they had a 3-1 lead at one point.
You know, it kind of makes sense because it's almost like Andrew Miller was an extension of the rotation.
Fly ball headed out towards right field, and Renfroe looking up into the high sky, and he makes the catch. It ends the inning. A run for the Indians on top 1-0.
This is going to be a tough play. Bryant, the Cubs win the World Series. Bryant makes the play. It's over. And the Cubs...
Now, what a World Series it was, and when Rajai Davis hit that home run, you got to figure that's it. Here come the Cleveland Indians to wrap it up, and it didn't happen. The rain delay, of course, was mixed in between all those highlights, and what a difference that made as well.
I'll tell you what, I guarantee you there were windows open at people's houses and people were complaining down the street. What are they yelling at? The non-baseball fans? Yeah. There was a lot of hooting, hollering, screaming going on during that series. It was everything that you could hope for in a World Series, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Oh,
right up till the end.
Yeah. And
a curveball that is lifted in the air to center. Tyler Naquin with the glasses on. They'll put it away for the first out here of the second inning. Hunter Renfroe retired as Terry Francona and the Indians had a 3-1 advantage in this series. And that's the hard pill to swallow if you're Terry Francona, no doubt. But even then, coming back to tie it up in Game 7. But what a series it was, back and forth, excitement galore throughout the entire series.
And let's not forget that the Cubs were also down 3-1 to the Dodgers, correct?
I believe you're correct.
So, 2 series where they were down with their backs up against the walls. And you know what? This is the Cub fan as a kid growing up in me. Remember Bryant threw that ball and his foot slipped?
Yeah.
I thought airmail down the right field line, and here comes the tying run.
Yeah.
Or would have that been the winning run? There was a guy on first, correct? Or a guy on second? I can't remember. I can't remember what I had for breakfast today. But as soon as that back foot slipped, I thought, oh my gosh, he's going to work underneath it and it's going to go over Rizzo's head.
One out here in the inning.
Okay, do you know?
No, I don't.
Okay, then.
But then I wouldn't say it if I didn't know.
Oh,
I just wouldn't throw it out there.
Okay. All right.
I mean, you know, I'm usually pretty cautious about that stuff. I try not to make stuff up. This is to right.
I'm not making stuff up.
Out there in right field. Can't make the catch. On the sinking liner out there for Hector Sanchez, first base runner of the day. And a little divot out there now in right. Some sun problems. Lonnie Chisenhall.
This ball had some serious top spinning on it. Good extension by Hector Sanchez. And it looks like Chisenhall kind of got caught in between. Do I charge, try to snag it? Oh, play it on the short hop. Just hopefully it doesn't get by me.
You asked me about 5 questions in about 8
it's just
seconds,
conversation.
and I didn't have answers for any of them. It started with the Dodgers Chicago thing, and then just kept going with how many guys were on base, and Brian throws it away. Anyway, 1 out, 1 on. Here's Jabari Blash, who's had a terrific spring. Not only the home runs for Blash, 4 home runs during the spring so far, but he has been very selective at the plate. He has walked 6 times, and that's the impressive thing.
I know you and Mark Sweeney talked about it last telecast, but shortening up the swing, getting to the fastball in a little better, not getting jammed.
Mark was really good, by the way.
That's what I heard.
This is in the air to left, down the line, and curling foul to the corner.
I remember the late, great Tony Gwynn Sr. used to talk about the knob of the bat to the baseball, and then the barrel will follow. Throw the knob and the head will follow. And that's a good piece of advice. And it seems like that's what Jabari is doing to quicken up that swing.
Well, Jabari's swing, of course, last year appeared to be a little bit long. A lot of power. Always has been.
Sure. And on the right pitch, mistake, a long swing. Yeah, that'll work once in a while. But, hey, pitchers are going to adjust and go to your weakness, and you have to make a point to make an adjustment.
So I looked into the NLCS.
Oh, did you? You did, or somebody in the truck did?
No, I looked into it.
Oh, did you?
It was 2-2 in the series. So you were wrong. 2-2.
2-1.
Yeah, that's different from 3-1.
2-1. They were a game elimination away from.
Swing and a miss is Blash.
That's what I meant.
Strikes out.
That's what I meant. They were down 2-1.
That's a second strikeout for Kluber.
Oh, like you knew. That's why I had to check in the truck. Anyway, way out in front and tried to check it.
So 2 down. Sanchez at first. That brings up Carlos Wahe.
Listen to Bill James over here.
Wahe 4 for 19 so far during the spring, and a great year last year. 134 games for the champion El Paso Chihuahuas, hitting at .321 And he hits this to center. Naquin coming in to make the catch and to retire the side. We're through 2. It's 1-0 Indians. Have the lead over the Padres as we get ready for the 3rd inning, and Tony Gwynn Jr. is promised in the house. Good to see you, Tony.
Good to see you guys.
Thanks for joining me. Welcome. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
I've had a lot of laughs already today.
Yes, I have. You guys are hilarious sitting in the back over here.
It's great to see you.
Good to be here.
Thanks for
Good to be
joining
here.
us.
Glad to finally be where I belong.
Absolutely. Well, Tony Gwynn Jr. been doing radio the last 3 days, and he'll be doing some radio, of course, during the course of the year, and with us at Fox Sports San Diego. So we're excited about it. And so far, so good, man. You feel like you've been doing this forever.
I don't know if I feel like that. I've been getting some good compliments from you guys, but I'm a nervous wreck in there.
Well, you've been outstanding so far. And you got your shoes on, which is already a plus for the booth, because I don't know if you've smelled what's going on over there, but it's really bad.
It hasn't hit me yet, at least.
Oh. Now it's on here to the 3rd inning, and Jared Weaver coming up to deal with Zimmer into his 3rd inning. And you were talking a little bit earlier about what you wanted to ask Tony.
Tony, I wanted to pose you the question to have success against a pitcher like Jared Weaver and the repertoire that he has.
Well, it's difficult, I think, because he's pitching below, the hitting speed now. I mean, there was a time where he was like 89, 91, 92 with that location. Now he's pitching below the normal hitting speed. So as a hitter, you have to go up there and really make sure you don't try to do too much. I think it's natural to get in there and see 82 and think that you can do more. And I think really you need to try to do less.
And with that curveball, especially the first pitch strike, we saw that last inning. How important that, or how does that work to the advantage of Jared Weaver getting that over for a strike?
That's important, just as important is really commanding the ball in, off the plate, keeping the hitter honest. Because I think as a hitter, you have a tendency when the pitching is a little bit slower, you start to try to attack the baseball. So it becomes difficult at that point. So yes, the breaking ball is a major factor in Jared Weaver's success, especially with him throwing below the hitting speed.
That last pitch had some tremendous, great movement down and away for the strikeout.
Zimmer's had trouble with him today, striking out in the 1st and now here in the 3rd, and it brings up Jose Ramirez. See what adjustments the Indians make here, 2nd time through against Weaver. Now, Weaver in his prime, certainly a guy very different than he is now. We've looked over the years, and velocity has gone down, and times last year on 82 miles an hour.
I mentioned it earlier, but Darren Balsley said he got up to 85 his last outing. Last year, Jared Weaver had some hip issues, a front hip, and he wasn't throwing off that stiff front leg, and that's so important because a soft front leg, you don't get anything to throw off of.
Right.
It's like they don't have a solid base, almost like hitting. If you don't have that solid base, it's not going to correlate into the top half of the swing or the top half of your mechanics to get something on the ball.
When the body's not right, I think, and you can speak to this, Mud, when the body's not right for a pitcher, especially a pitcher who is lacking in velocity, you're going to get a different type of 83, 84. You know, you can get, when Weaver is healthy and he's getting that extension, that 83, 84 looks a little bit harder to the hitter, but when you're not able to get that extension because whether it be your neck or your back, that 83 is a much more floaty-like type pitch, and hitters recognize that a lot faster.
Well, Ramirez taking that the other way.
Did you ever hit against Jared Weaver?
I did.
What was it like? What did you do against him? Can you remember?
I think I had 2 hits off of him in Anaheim. One was a breaking ball that I really had no business even getting my bat to, and I was able to flip it down the line. It was actually my first year here in San Diego in 2009. But he's difficult because especially when he's locating, and at this time he was still 88, 89, even a little bit higher than that. It's just tough because, as you mentioned earlier, he's thrown across his body, so it gives you a different look. The ball comes out a lot different. It kind of gets on you a little bit faster than you're anticipating. But I've had some decent success against Weaver when I was playing.
Runner takes off, and the throw will be on the late side. And nobody covering third, so
he came off the bag.
Sanchez heading down to third base and coming off the bag there. You're right. Tag applied and out at second base now is Ramirez. He was safe on the steal, but then came off.
Let's say Ibar keeps the glove on him. Keep it on him.
Looked like he was anticipating getting to third. He knew there wasn't a third baseman there, so he was getting ready to go to third, thinking that ball had gotten the outfield, and there.
He got him on the left hand, kept it on the left hand. Did they deke him there, thinking that the ball was going?
I think they did, because there was no reason for him to think that ball was in the outfield other than the infielders giving him that idea.
I'm wondering if Aswahi was saying something as if like the ball was, because we saw Ibar still having the ball in his glove, and like you said, Tony, Ramirez comes off the bag.
Because I know he probably heard that ball pop the glove, and then if Aswahi is actually yelling something, that might have gave him indication that it got to the outfield. Interesting.
Yep.
And this is away here to Chisenhall, who singled in the first inning. Sharply hit and through the shift on the right side. Out of the reach on the right side of Coleman and into right field, and a 2-out base hit for Chisenhall. Well, we'll see. I think the deke here that you guys were talking about.
See, you watch Aswahi here. No, it looks like he's just running towards third base
because nobody's covering.
It could have been simply Ramirez trying to switch, trying to get up to go to third, and in the process of that, taking off his hand off the bag, he ends up being tagged out.
Well, that is a day for Weaver, reaching his pitch count here with 2 down in the third inning. We'll step aside. On top of the Padres 1-0. Still in the midst of the top of the third inning with 2 down, and Jared Weaver's day is over. After 2 2/3, on comes Andre Rienzo.
A non-roster invitee to Padres spring training this year. Last year in the minors, 34 games, only started 3 of them. And I tell you what, a kid who has persevered, signed in 2007. This is his 11th pro season. Pretty good numbers, only hitting .211 off the right-hander. Rienzo, Andre Rienzo.
From Sao Paulo, Brazil, and a guy who spent time at 4 different minor league classifications with the Marlins a year ago. Spending time in New Orleans, Jacksonville, Jupiter, and the rookie level Gulf Coast Marlins. Major league experience with the White Sox briefly and the Marlins back in 2015. This one fouled off, gets a piece of Hector Sanchez. 0-2.
Darren Balsey says he has a quick arm, a good breaking ball. Like any pitcher, he says he needs to work ahead. Sometimes the base on ball is the kryptonite for Rienzo.
This could be a difficult adjustment for the Indians hitters here after facing Weaver, who's below the hitting speed. Now they're certainly facing a guy who can run it up there a little bit.
On the ground right side, ranging is Zwahe. Nice rangy play from the Padres second baseman, and it ends the inning. 2.5 done from Peoria. 1-0 Indians. As Don Orsillo along with Tony Gwynn Jr. and Mark Grant with you today from Peoria. And the Padres had Jared Weaver in the game, and we were talking about Tony Gwynn Jr. He thought 2 hits. You actually had one more than that against Jared Weaver in your career.
Well, I think I had the one that day, and then I had 2 against him as a Dodger.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a bunt single and I had a triple.
The Freeway Series, perhaps?
Yes, it was the Freeway Series. I ended up getting a walk-off hit that day, my first of my career. So
Nice.
I remember that day.
You know, Brett Wallace, 119 games a year ago, coming off the bench primarily, but had a chance to start at third base. And here's a liner foul.
What do you miss most, Tony? I mean, you're, not that far removed from the game, wearing the uniform and spring training. What do you miss most?
I miss the locker room. I miss being, the getting on each other, the pretty much the things that go on in this booth right here. I miss that a lot. I miss putting in the work too. Getting up, getting to the field at 1 o'clock, getting in the cage, honing your craft. I enjoyed the process. I did.
Did you enjoy spring training?
No, I hated spring training.
Really? That's funny how many guys say that.
I just felt like it was always too long. It's like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks too long. But it's part of your job. You deal with it.
It seems like we're all here for the pitching to get themselves together.
It's
I mean,
like,
we're all,
hey,
true.
speed it up. Let's go,
Yeah.
guys.
I think it could be shortened, but I mean, look at what it does for these communities like Peoria.
That's
and,
very true.
The Valley.
Very true.
There's baseball here every day. When
Yeah.
the Padres are not here, of course, the Mariners are here. And the great thing about the Cactus League, so many complexes share combined teams like they do here with the Padres and the Mariners. So there's baseball every day for this community. Certainly economically in the community, a big thing here for a lot of the restaurants and hotels.
Yeah, spring training in Arizona is as good as it gets for families to be able to come out here. You can check out 3 games in a day, in a 24-hour period. You just can't do that anywhere else.
2-2 to Wallace. And a swing and a miss by him as that strikeout number 3 for Kluber. We're talking about Cy Young Award winner Corey Kluber and Cy Young Award winners the last 4 years. Of course, Rick Porcello and his 22 wins a year ago. Russ Keuchel, Corey Kluber, and Max Scherzer.
The wins are sexy, the 20-game winners. I always look at the ERAs. And, Tony, I know we don't have a vote when it comes to Cy Young Award, but, there's a lot of other things other than wins and losses. I look at ERA, I look at hit standing pitch, I look at opponent's batting average, so much to factor in.
Wins and losses are almost out of the pitcher's control. I mean, unless they're throwing CGs, as Kluber did quite a bit last year, it seemed like they really kind of have their hands tied.
Dusty Coleman with a line drive, base hit into center field, getting the start at third base. So a 1-out single. Yeah, you think about Felix Hernandez all these years, and the win total has not been there, but there have been so many years where he's been the ERA leader and strikeout leader and everything else, but hasn't won as a result. Sometimes those wins aren't going to be with you.
Got no control over the offense.
None.
All you can do is try to throw out zeros. And I've had this argument before with a lot of people. I'll take a guy if he's 5-15, but he's got an ERA of 2.1. You know what? He should be in consideration. He's thrown like 250 innings. He should be considering for the Cy Young Award.
Absolutely. As you guys said, wins and losses are completely. You can come out of a game winning by 3 runs, and you end up with a no decision, and that doesn't take into account how well he pitched that day.
Well, Dusty Coleman gunned down here by Eric Kratz. Now trying to steal for the second out. Padres have been fairly aggressive here so far during spring training, and why not?
Nice snap throw. Perfect throw down to second base.
Yeah, this is the time to be aggressive. During spring training, this is the time to see how big a lead you can get without getting picked off. You want to push the envelope as much as you can, so when the regular season starts, it just becomes an instinctual thing. I think back to 2010 when we ended up winning 90 games here. That was Buddy Black's big thing. He wanted us to. He didn't care how many times we were getting thrown out. He didn't care about getting picked off. He wanted each and every guy to know how far their lead could be before it was too far.
And I'm guessing you, Tony, did you always have the green light unless you got the stop sign?
I did.
You could go whenever you wanted to go.
Yes.
Swing and a miss. Jankowski strikes out to end the inning. Well, Tony Gwynn Jr., thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing a lot of you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you letting me join you for an inning.
Stop by more often.
I'm just going to slide back here and giggle some more listening to you two.
You're more than welcome to stay.
Slide over to that chair. 1-0 Indians. top half of the 4th inning. But before we do, let's send it down to Bob Scanlon.
Hey, thanks, Don. I'm here with starting pitcher Jared Weaver. Jared, looked good out there. Congratulations on a nice outing. Second outing of spring training. What's on your bucket list of things that you sort of want to accomplish for outing number 2, and did you get it done today?
Just trying to work on mechanics, really, just trying to not get too quick. Obviously, you're going to get excited to get out there and just try to stay over the rubber and let everything happen up front. Stretch felt a little quick, but that last inning there felt a lot better out of the stretch, so it's coming along.
No doubt the competitive juice is already kicking in. A little bit of screaming out on the mound, but you love to see that, man. You're fired up to be out there and want to get guys out.
Yeah, one of my biggest pet peeves is walking people, so yeah, I've been known to scream a little bit, but yeah, I keep forgetting that there's not as many people here as in a big league game, so it kind of stands out a little bit more. I'm going to have to watch that.
Yeah, that's all good. Hey, we talked a lot about your conditioning during the offseason and just feeling physically better coming into camp this year. It was interesting. You said you had some hip issues, but in treating those, it actually freed up your neck and your shoulder. How has that affected your arm slot, your ability to get extension? How are you feeling physically out there?
Feeling a lot better night and day from this point last year, so not as restricted, kind of more free and easy, and able to turn a little bit more on my hip as opposed to last year. I couldn't really get that turn and torque, so definitely feeling good, and we're making progress each and every day.
A lot of first pitch strikes today. I think 8 out of your 9 first batters, and some of them off-speed pitches. Getting a good feel for the breaking ball at this point early on?
Yeah, I think that's obviously going to come with time, but that's kind of the last thing that kind of comes with feeling your mechanics out, and try to concentrate on fastball command to start it off, and try to mix in some breaking balls when you get ahead. So obviously throw a little bit different in spring than you would in a regular game, but everything's coming along.
Jared, we thought we were going to see you in a Padres uniform 13 years ago. 2004 draft. All the talk was that you were going to be the pick for the Padres. Maybe a little bit late, but still excited to be down south.
Oh yeah, of course, man. It's a great group of guys. I've gotten to know everybody over the course of spring, and we're excited to get this spring going and continue work going into the season.
Jared, thanks for the time. Looking good out there. Keep up the great work.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, Jared Weaver, feeling good, and good to see him back on the mound, guys. Back to you.
All right, Scan, thanks very much. Finally, somebody who is Scan's height that he can talk to.
That's a good point. That's a good point. They don't need the apple box there to stand on, right?
No, it's great.
Or on the first step.
It's amazing.
A lot of good points right there by Jared, and Tony Gwynn Jr. mentioned it earlier about being healthy. I mean, you have one little thing that's wrong, it can affect your whole delivery, and it's good to hear come out of the mouth of Jared Weaver, free and easy.
Try to compensate or overcompensate and change something, and you can get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Kratz grounding out. In fact, 2 groundouts in a row here. Enzo has induced 3 since coming into the game, and there are 2 down here in the inning. Nelly Rodriguez, a single and an RBI in the second inning. So Weaver today went 2 2/3, 4 hits. 1 run, which is the difference in the game. Walked 2, which he talked about, and struck out 3. Grounder up the middle has Ibar trying to range to his left, got a glove on it, but ends up behind him, and Rodriguez ends up at first base.
Ball hit sharply. The grass is short. The ground is hard, but I think this is a makeable play for Ibar. 1, 2, 3. Ball looks like it comes up a little bit, hits the heel of the glove. I think it's a makeable play for Ibar, and I'm betting if you asked Eric, hey, makeable play, I think he would agree with me.
So 2 down, Rodriguez at first, and here's Michael Martinez. Line down to center field, and Travis Jankowski, first time up, made good contact, but Jankowski cutting from left center to right center made the grab on him first time around.
So many great points about watching a baseball game, fun things to watch. And one of them for me is from our vantage point, you get that dead-on look at Travis Jankowski.
Yep.
You see the crack of the, or you hear the crack of the ball, and then off the bat, and then you see which way he goes to get a good beat on it. Fun to watch.
Of course, the center fielder has the best look looking in.
Sure.
As far as reaction time goes. But boy, he can cover some ground in a hurry.
Yeah.
Grounded down to first. Tough hop. Myers will stay with it and tag the bag to retire the side. Indians leave a base runner. We've played 3.5. Cleveland on top 1-0.
Indians 1, Padres nothing. Cactus League action. MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, enjoy almost 300 spring training games and the 2017 World Baseball Classic. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
An injury here as Rodriguez, the first baseman, not sure what he did, but they're working on his leg, and Terry Francona has come out to join the conversation here in between innings. Not sure what happened to Rodriguez, but he is in some pain and needed some help to get up. And Nelly Rodriguez, who has been at first base in this game for the Indians. A couple of hits in this game, 2 for 2, in fact, in the ball game, and he was aboard in the top half of this inning when Martinez grounded out, and looks like get out to his position defensively and did something. So Terry Francona is going to be replacing him, and it looks like Rodriguez will be coming out of this game.
Talk about freak injuries, and once again, we don't know what happened, but I forgot what year it was. It was a few years ago for the Padres. Tim Fedorovich, remember the catcher?
Yes, sure.
He was coming out to catch, taking the warm-ups from the pitcher, and he blew out his knee by squatting down.
Wow.
Done for the year.
Well, this was a weird one.
Talk about a freak injury.
Yeah, I mean, just warming up the infielders here, and something happened. We looked down, and he was on the ground. And the training staff quickly out there. The Padres training staff also joining to help out. Bob Scanlon's in that general area. Bob, what'd you see?
You know, all I know is that he had a ball in his glove when he went down. I'm thinking that he might have twisted that ankle as he was trying to catch one of the routine infield warm-up plays that you do to, in between innings. And clearly it seems to be the right ankle. He was on the ground, tried to get up, limped a little bit, and then went right back down to the ground, realizing that that right leg could not hold any weight, and he just waited there for the trainers to come out.
Well, it looks like Willie Mo Pena is going to be taking over for him, and I imagine because there is no clubhouse connected here on the left side that he will probably just walk down the right field line to the corner where he will be headed out here, and still standing at first base while Willie Mo Pena now warms up. Major League veteran trying to catch on here with the Indians. And into this game now after Nelly Rodriguez injures himself. And they may be waiting for a cart to come down to get him, too, from that right field corner is my guess. Terry Francona still on the field talking with home plate umpire Dan Merzel, and the trainer waiting alongside Rodriguez. So he is not going to try to walk down there.
And look at
indeed does come the cart.
Look at you.
I got it all figured out. This is the way I would go out.
You just ordered a cart, and look at a cart shows up.
If I had hurt myself here, I would want a cart to come down the right field line to get me.
Well, it would either take a cart or a crane, and we can't get a crane here in time.
Well, so he will head out now on the cart. Simon, another one of the Padres trainers, helping him out. And he will head off. So we'll keep an eye on that. And these appear to be the right leg. So Francona is headed off here. And Willie Mo Pena now takes over at first base.
You know a little bit about Willie Mo Pena.
Indeed, very strong. One of the longest home runs I've ever seen in my life at Kansas City.
I remember there were some people out there saying that, when Willie Mo Pena was no longer with the Red Sox, he was floating around. A group of people said, oh, maybe that's a guy the Padres should sign because, he's hit one of the longest home runs I've ever seen. Well, you know what? I'd rather have a guy, if it's 350 feet for a home run, I'd rather see a guy hit 30 351-foot home runs rather than one 750-foot shot.
If he makes contact, I mean, it's going a long way.
Very inconsistent, though, right? A lot of swings and misses.
A lot of swings and misses. Been in Japan the last 4 years. Last time he was in the majors was 2011 with the Seattle Mariners. This is rope foul down the right field line out of play. And
that's a big kid down there.
He didn't play at all, Willie Mo, last year. Not even in Japan. Nowhere. did not play. Trying to catch on here after the 4 years in Japan. Most home runs ever hit in a season, 32, and that was in Japan in 2014. 0-1. And that'll miss inside. Broke into the big leagues with the Cincinnati Reds. Time in Boston, Washington, Arizona, and Seattle before going to Japan. Oh, 2 strikes.
That's the great thing about baseball, isn't it? You hear of an NFL lineman retiring. Is he going to make a comeback 4 years later?
Not likely. May go to the CFL in Canada.
Right. I hear Tony Gwynn Jr. told us before the game that Eric Gagne on the comeback trail.
Yeah.
Somebody said he hit 95
That's unbelievable.
on the radar gun.
How many years has he been out?
He's got to be out of the game 4 or 5 years.
The 2-2 pitch is on the ground foul. I remember 2007 because he was acquired by the Red Sox towards the end of the year. And they had hoped that he would set up Jonathan Papelbon. That did not work out. After all the incredible seasons he had with the Dodgers. That year he was in Texas prior to that deal. But I want to say he's been out for at least 5 or 6 years. 2-2. And it's chopped to first base. Willie Moe just into the game will tag the bag at first for the first out of the inning. Here comes Will Myers. Struck out swinging in the first inning. Kluber with 4 strikeouts so far through 3 1/3, and so far looking pretty good.
I stand corrected because everything I usually say is like spot on.
Yeah.
Eric Gagne's last year in the big leagues was 2008.
That's what I thought. That's what I just said. It's been, yeah, because I remember 2007, and that was kind of it.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's a really long time. I mean, this would be 9 years ago, if my math is right. What you say is normally spot on. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
You got like a 22%.
You know what I figure?
correct rate.
If it's like 3 or 4 years either
Is
way,
that good?
I'm
22% good in analyst camp. 1. Back off of Kluber. Hit him in the backside. He stays with it. And a low throw to Pena, but they're able to get Will Myers for the second out.
You said an analyst camp. Anything above 20%, you're good.
That's passing. And you go to 22. Great job. The 6 weeks in Palm Springs of analyst camp. You got a 22. And they sent you back to the Padres.
I walked with my diploma and everything.
So 2 down.
Hey, you know what? If you graduate last in analyst camp, guess what you're still called?
What?
An analyst.
An analyst. Just not a good one.
It's like a doctor.
Right.
You go to med school, you're last in your class, guess what they still call you? Doctor.
Deep short. Gonzalez with the plan and the throw there in plenty of time. Nice play. So 1-2-3 inning. We played 4. Indians have a 1-0 lead. Padres baseball, brought to you by Petco, where the healthy pets go. Now back in Arizona, where it is a warm day, low 90s here today. They'll tie it to dry heat on Route 66, historic Route 66.
From Chicago down to Los Angeles, Route 66.
And Christian Friedrich into the game, becomes a third arm used today by Andy Green.
No, one of the guys in the battle for the rotation last season. You see his numbers. And the fastball command on the glove side is an issue for Christian Friedrich, and that's what he's trying to work on. So what I mean by that is like down and into the right-handed hitters, his glove side. Not hitting his spots recently, so that's when he falls into trouble.
Takes over for Andre Rienzo, went an inning and a third, giving up a hit, no runs.
Looking for about 3 innings from Christian Friedrich this afternoon.
The deep short, Nybar with a long throw that he gets it there in time. Nice play. Nybar backed up there, deep short, still showing off the good arm. One down.
He's playing on the pull side. It's a 2-hopper, so he's got plenty of time to gather himself, plant that back foot. And a nice stretch by Will Myers. Nothing like having a shortstop with some good range out there. Boy, that's fun to watch.
One down here in the 5th, and it brings up Bradley Zimmer, 0 for 2 in the game. Zimmer struck out in the 1st, again in the 3rd, and both times it was against Jared Weaver. That's one thing you hear from young pitchers from time to time coming up from the minor leagues to the majors, how much more impressed they are with the defense behind them. Not used to having that kind of D behind you.
I still contend, and I get a lot of arguments, but I was fortunate enough to play 1 year in Seattle. And to see number 13, Omar Vizquel, who I think one of the best of all time. All time. I'll put anybody up against him. Ozzie Smith. I mean, Omar was unbelievable at shortstop. Thoughts?
Speed, good arm.
Good arm. Great around the bag.
Strike 3, and Zimmer down by way of the K for the 3rd time today.
Love the strikeouts. And look at that's glove side. Down and away to the lefty. Frozen pizza right there.
So 2 down, and it brings up Jose Ramirez. Ramirez today 1 for 2, is lined out to first and single to left. Do you remember thinking that when you got to the big leagues as far as defense goes behind
Absolutely.
you? Yeah. That was with the Giants. Right?
Because here's what I remember. A hard hit ball or a ball sharply, you think it's going to be a hit, and then all of a sudden you look and you see your infielder there to make the play at the big league level.
It's a great feeling.
That didn't happen in Shreveport.
Right. Right. Yeah. First inning of relief here for Friedrich. All these outings very important for the guys vying for a rotation spot, and more than just your regular spring training outings. These are important as they try to figure out the 5 to begin the year in the rotation.
And as I mentioned last TV game we did early, there's those guys that need to work on stuff, that have the luxury of working on stuff, and then there are guys who are battling to crack that rotation.
Yeah, a lot of different mindsets here in spring training. With the young kids who are trying to leave a lasting impression on the coaching staff and the manager.
I often thought, what's it like to be a guy who's got 10, 12 years in the big leagues and going to spring training and knowing that you're going to be in the rotation no matter what numbers you throw up? I never had that luxury.
This one chopped foul, still 3-2. Well, now you do. I mean, you can come in here and be terrible analyzing a game and still be the lead analyst to begin the season. The Padres.
Doesn't matter what you do or how many things you forget. You're still going to be there opening day. To third. Coleman will plan at third and throw across to retire the side. We are halfway through. Indians have a 1-0 lead.
The Padres 1-0. Hey, the World Baseball Classic is coming to San Diego. Petco Park hosts second-round action March 14th through the 18th with potential teams including the United States, Mexico, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Colombia, Canada, and Italy. Get your tickets now at Padres.com/WBC.
How much fun has that been to watch so far?
Some good baseball.
Awesome.
Good baseball.
And 1, 2, 3, fourth inning takes us to the fifth, and Hector Sanchez swinging at the first pitch. Skies one foul, and that'll get in behind the Indians dugout on the third base side.
You know, baseball, America's pastime, right? You can essentially say the world's pastime. Some great talent around the world playing the great game of baseball. So not just, there's a Yankee fan. It's the world.
You see the passion that a lot of those guys have for their countries. We saw that here with Mexico last week playing the Padres getting ready for their WBC appearance.
Nice slider right there from Kluber down and into the lefty. It's his go-to. Too early to tell a favorite in that WBC?
I would say so.
Yeah.
You got to like the Dominican team, though, after what we saw last night. And that roster is incredible. This one to shallow left, and that'll fall right in between Gonzalez and Almonte. I got it, you take it. Neither did.
That's a big league spring training knock. Placed perfectly. Let's check. Okay, crack of the bat. The shortstop is going out. Gonzalez, Almonte, who's got it?
So lead runner on, and that breaks a string of 4 in a row retired here by Kluber. Lead runner on, and it brings up Jabari Blash. He struck out in the second inning. 1 of 4 Ks so far today for the right-hander for the Indians. And a liner into left field. Sanchez up to second base on the single by Blash, and Jabari Blash continues to swing a hot bat. That's his 7th hit of the spring.
How about the Blash rocking the Casbah here in the Cactus League? This is one of the matchups I was really looking forward to see. Blash versus Kluber. It was a first pitch breaking ball. Catches it out in front, but still the swing is intact. Good power from the legs. Kind of fooled a little bit out in front, but still strong enough to get that ball elevated over the infielders for a knock. Very nice.
Righty-righty matchup. Not a problem for Jabari, who stands at first base. 2 on, nobody out. And that'll bring up Carlos Azuaje. Now the Padres playing the World Series teams back-to-back. They get the Cleveland Indians here today, Chicago Cubs here tomorrow, and both games on Fox Sports San Diego. On a strike here to Azuaje. One sharply, lining it out to center field back in the second inning off Kluber, but nothing to show for it. Kluber has allowed 4 hits, but so far no runs. And as he starts to stretch it out here during the spring into his 5th inning in this start today.
I was going to say, stretching it out big time here on March 12th.
Very defensive swing and a foul tip. Trying to hold up and made contact in the process.
Boy, really shallow in left field is Almonte. If he gets something away and down that line, that's going to clear the bases. Looks like he's trying to bust him in, though.
Shallow in center also is Tyler Naquin. Azuaje batting with Hector Sanchez at second base, Jabari Blash at first base, and nobody out here in the 5th inning. Indians on top 1-0. In the air, down the left field line, and we mentioned it. Almonte was shallow. He's got to go back, and he will not make the catch in left field. That'll fall. Around from second base comes Sanchez, and the game is tied 1-1. That turned out to be a factor there, and a fly ball to left field down the line for Azuaje. Almonte was shallow, and he cannot get back to make the catch.
A couple of things. When you look at the flags here at the Peoria Sports Complex, wind aided. That ball is blowing from right to left. And look where Almonte on the left there starts. He's got to really go. I mean, he is sprinting. How close does he get? Just out of his reach. Azuaje going hard. He's got to be aware of the runners in front of him. He will pull up with the double.
That's going to do it for Kluber as he has reached his pitch count here today into the 5th inning. He departs, but the Padres have tied the score 1-1. Tied 1-1 here in the last half of the 5th inning. And Brett Wallace about here to deal with the new pitcher, Boone Logan. Wallace struck out swinging in his only at bat, and that was against Corey Kluber. Just left the game after 4+. 5 hits, still responsible for the men on. Is allowed to run here in the inning. Runners at second and third. Veteran left-hander Boone Logan into the game.
A lot of stickers on his suitcase. White Sox, Yankees, Rockies, Braves. Sweeping breaking ball.
66 appearances a year ago with Colorado. 3.69 earned run average in his time with the Rockies, and parts of 3 seasons in Colorado. Not an easy place to pitch, to say the least. Flash at third is Wahe at second. Nobody out and a run in for the Padres. 0-2. And Wallace strikes out. So Boone Logan comes in, and a second and third nobody out situation, and Wallace strikes out for the second time today.
And you can see how effective Boone Logan can be as a left-handed specialist. He kind of throws across his body as well. So a lefty, bad looking swing from Brett Wallace. Look at Logan, kind of throws across his body, and then there's a sweeping breaking ball and brings him to his knee. Don't have to throw that hard. You got some deception. You can throw consistent strikes down and away to those lefties. Flip up that breaking ball, you're good to go.
So second and third, one down. And here's Dusty Coleman, who singled to center. First time up, and takes a pitch down and in. He has one of the 5 hits put together today by the Padres. Flash at third is Wahe at second. Padres trying to grab a lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Off balance cut there.
Breaker down by the back foot.
Swing and a miss, and Coleman up over the top of that. 1-2. So far so good here for Boone Logan since coming into the game. Kluber gave up the single to Hector Sanchez, a single for Jabari Blash, a RBI double for Carlos Wahe, second and third, and now a count of 2-2.
Sorry, I brought that one in just a little bit more because Coleman offering at that breaking ball down and in. So as a pitcher, okay, you're going to offer at it. I'm going to throw it inside just a little bit more and see if I can get a weak hack out of you. Looks like he may have opened up that outside part of the plate. Maybe sneak something down and away, or well, looks like he's going back in there.
Line and caught by Pena at first base. So it took it the other way hard, but right at Willie Mo Pena at first. And Coleman retired. Pena took a look towards third base, but Blash able to get back to the bag.
Nothing you can do there, Dusty. You put a good swing on it. You hit it sharply, but there just happened to be a Cleveland Indian first baseman there to snag it.
So 2 down, second and third. Top of the order, Travis Jankowski coming up. 0 for 2. He's grounded out to second base and struck out swinging. And now in a lefty-lefty matchup, something he worked hard on during the offseason. Yep. Facing more left-handed pitching, something that he really struggled with last year.
Travis telling me last year and telling us, you know, he's got to keep that front shoulder in, got to think left center field, left field line. Especially with a guy like Logan who throws consistent breaking balls down the way. You try to pull that, it's going to be the summer of 4-3.
On the ground by the mound into center field. A base hit for Jankowski. Blash will score. Here comes Wahe. The throw will be close, and Wahe at the plate will be out. So he is gunned down at the plate to end the inning, but a run does come in, and Jabari Blash driven in on the base hit by Jankowski. In a lefty-lefty matchup, Jankowski drives in the go-ahead run. The Padres have taken a 2-1 lead thanks to Travis Jankowski. the Indians after a pair of runs put together by the Padres in the bottom of the 5th inning. Well, we're talking about tomorrow against the Cubs here on Fox Sports San Diego. 2 World Series teams back-to-back. Then the Kansas City Royals, Cincinnati Reds, Texas Rangers, and Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim will be in on the 23rd of March. Next 5 games coming up here on Fox Sports San Diego. Altogether, we're going to be doing 14 spring training games down here.
Who doesn't love spring training on Fox Sports San Diego? Tune in and watch the Friars or whoever they're playing. It's good from the Cactus League.
We're not really down here. We're kind of over here.
There.
Yeah.
That's true.
First pitch to Chisenhall is going to be in there for a strike. Chisenhall's 3rd AB of the day. His 2 singles. Both of those were against Jared Weaver. In fact, was the last batter that Weaver faced.
You know, one of the great expressions, Mike Krukow said it all the time, and it's baseball vernacular. You want to go north with the club. That's a great expression,
that is
isn't it?
very true. Absolutely.
Hey, you want to have a good spring, you want to go north with the club.
Mm-hmm.
If you went north,
it's a good sign. Off the glove of Myers, it'll spit out towards his Wahe, and reaching at first base, 3rd hit of the day for Chisenhall.
you know, it's a phrase that's not good to hear in spring training. Hey, Skip wants to see you. Ground ball to the right side here, and Myers, now nobody covering, and with the shift on, it's just not enough time to get there to get the runner at first base. So sometimes the shift works for you. That time it did not, with a deflection.
Yeah, you don't want to hear that from somebody, the manager.
From the clubhouse
wants to.
manager. Hey, Skip wants to see you.
Then you schlep into the office. And
Yeah.
hit San Jose or wherever it was.
Yeah.
Tyler Naquin standing in. Your debut in the big leagues, did you make the roster to begin opening day?
I did not. Started in Phoenix.
Okay.
Got called up in April. Hey, what a year for this kid last year, huh? Going to the World
Tremendous.
Series, and I think that just pays big dividends for a young player to be thrown in on a big league club and then experience the season that the Cleveland Indians had last year. And that's a lot of pressure.
No question. And winning so important, and that's why I think we talked a lot about the players last year who finished the year in El Paso with the Chihuahuas. And albeit at AAA, but the Austin Hedges and the Hunter Renfroes and Manuel Margot's, all those guys had a chance to win somewhere, and they won, of course, in El Paso. I think that's important, even at the minor league level.
Absolutely. Even rookie ball, even a short season rookie ball team. You win that first year, it's in your blood. Hey, we've got to do this every year. And how about the guys like, one that comes to mind is like Chipper Jones, right?
Mm-hmm.
His rookie year, right?
Yep.
Braves ended up going to the World Series.
Yep.
And never winning another one again. I mean, sure, going to the playoffs, but still. Would you rather be that guy the first year you win it all, or would it be like your last year or so that you win? You
Probably
know, it's a tough
be
call.
more rewarding in the end, realizing that it's not that easy to do.
Very hard to do.
Remember Joe Torre telling us a couple years ago that he told Derek Jeter after the first couple, this isn't the way this is going to be all the time, you know.
Yeah.
Because he came up and won instantly.
Yep.
So hard to get back once you've been there, and that's the amazing part about the Giants winning, 3 and 5 years. Very hard to do. And guy catching today, Hector Sanchez, a part of that. Padres catcher with the Giants. The other way down the left field line, and a fair ball headed towards the corner. As Chisenhall from first base is being waved around, he is going to score to tie this game. It's an RBI double for Tyler Naquin, and it is 2-2.
All about making adjustments for a youngster like Naquin, and lefty on lefty here going the other way. That is a good sign. A high pitch and getting up on top of that pitch just enough to keep it fair. That tells me he's very quick to the baseball and able to get that top hand on it just enough so he's not working under for the lazy fly ball to left.
Abraham Almonte coming up here, the former Padre, was with the Padres in 2014 and 2015. a swing and a miss for Almonte. A walk in the second, came around to score, grounded out to first base in the 4th inning. If he does make the Indians this year, it'll be the 3rd year with Cleveland. Played in 67 games last year for the Indians. Runner at second with nobody out, and this one right back at Friedrich and into center field. Right back where it came from as they stop at third, the pinch runner Smith. Throw to first base, and that one almost got away. So first and third now, and that's 3 straight hits, and that one right back at Christian Friedrich.
Hockey suit coming right back at you just under the glove of Friedrich. Now this is a heads-up play, good play by Will Myers, even though they didn't get the runner at first base, cutting it off, and then the snap throw, because sometimes the runner will take too big of a turn. Okay, the job of the center fielder. Okay, hit the cutoff man. Does that spin? Backing up, second base is Suaje, and thank goodness that ball doesn't get away.
Almost got Sandy Alomar Jr. there at first base.
Former Padre.
A run in here for the Indians. Game tied 2-2, and they're looking for more. First and third, still nobody out. And Eric Kratz with his 3rd plate appearance of the day. Kratz with a walk in the 2nd inning, grounded out to third base in the 4th inning. Swung on and fouled back to the screen, and it's 0-2. Eric Kratz, a veteran, 36 years old, will turn 37 in June. First professional season for Kratz was back in 2002. Medicine Hat, A-ball with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Darren Balsley managed up there with the Blue Jays back in the day.
Big league time last year for Kratz in Houston. Smith at third, Almonte at first, a run in, nobody out here in the Cleveland 6th inning.
Playing him to pull. A little bit in the outfield, big time on the infield, outfield.
Popped up left side. Dusty Coleman battling the sun. And in fairground, takes care of out number 1. So 1 away, and it'll bring up Willie Mo Pena, who took over at first base defensively for Nelly Rodriguez a couple of innings ago, and now will come up for the first time. Willie Mo Pena did not play last year. We were talking about it earlier. But beginning in 2012, 4 seasons in Japan. Last time he was in the big leagues, 2011, he appeared in 2 locations that year, Arizona Diamondbacks and Seattle Mariners.
I'm guessing first pitch breaking ball right here. He loves to hunt the fastball early. You throw him a fastball wrong spot, might be reaching for a new one.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing breaking ball. Well, maybe a fastball up and in. Yep. Fastball up and in. Wrong again. Unbelievable. Stay hot.
Willie Pena, 6'3", 260 pounds. Big and strong.
Fastball in, fastball away.
Lined off the glove of Aswahi at second base into center field. Smith coming from third to third base goes Almonte, and the Indians have taken a 3-2 lead. Looks like Aswahi was going to catch that, but lost it in the sun, not sure.
Yeah, very weird happenings here. I mean, I couldn't understand Friedrich getting his hat spun a little bit here on this one, but when the second baseman, maybe he was screened by. So let's check it a look. It looks like he lost sight of it. Maybe that hit off like his knee. It didn't even catch leather.
Well, a hot shot, no doubt, and that is another hit here for the Indians, and the ball hit very hard by Willie Pena. Indians have the lead back on top 3-2. Runners at first and third with one out. And Michael Martinez 0 for 2 in the ball game. Well, there have been some hot shots right back at Christian Friedrich, and that includes the last one off the bat of Willie Pena.
See how close this is to the left-hander.
Pretty close.
Yeah. Wow.
Chopped to third and outside the line of third base, a foul ball. Martinez getting the start at second base has made a nice defensive play here today and trying to get his first hit here of the game. 0 for 2. Almonte at third, Pena at first. Fly ball right field. Renfroe getting himself set. So is Almonte at third. And here comes a play at the plate, and he is out at the plate. Nice throw from Hunter Renfroe in right field. It's a double play to end the inning. Made the catch out there, and then throws out Almonte. 9-2. He's getting himself set and guns him down at the plate. It's 3-2 now, Indians. Have the lead over the Padres, and it's time now for the Bill Howe play of the game, and it comes from Hunter Renfroe in right field.
Does everything correctly. Watch him get underneath this baseball, and he comes in, momentum to the plate. Now fire a strike. He's known for his gun, his cannon, his arm. Even though that throw is on the first base side, a little bit of home plate. A nice job at home plate by Hector Sanchez with the catch and the tag. Nicely done, Hunter Renfroe.
A new pitcher on here for the Indians, their third of the day. Now Crockett into the game now. Taking over for Boone Logan. And Crockett has a lead to work with now for the Indians. 29 games last year, ERA over 5 for Crockett. Eric Ibar leading it off and sending one to deep left field. Back goes Amante. And that's going to one-hop the wall. Plays the carom. A little bobble out there, but easily into second base goes Eric Ibar with a double to begin things here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Well, quick to that pitch out of the hand of Crockett. Looked like a breaking ball down and in. Well, Boone Logan was throwing that breaking ball down into righties. Good piece of hitting right there by Eric Ibar. Actually, I take that back. It was a fastball down and in. I think I'm 0 for 5 today. Wearing the collar. Hey, spring training for me too, right?
Maybe you should do more games. There's a double here for Ibar to begin the inning. And now Guerra is pinch running at second base. Bobby Guerra into the game. Will Myers getting his third at bat. He has struck out and grounded out. Strike over the inside corner.
A lot of changes, huh?
There are a lot of changes, and I'm trying to figure them out. As Myers with the swing and a miss. Never a good feeling when you look down at the field and you don't know who's in the game.
Nasty breaking ball from Crockett. Boy, out of the hand, it looks so inviting. And then that sharp late break, it's down by your back foot for the swing and a miss.
Myers fouls it back to the screen, still 0-2. You appear to have two right fielders.
I don't think you can do that.
Do you have any guesses as to what that is? We're going to clear that up right now. That gentleman is in right field. The pitch is fouled back to the screen, still 0-2. And in just a second, I'm going to tell you his name.
We know he's number 2.
Okay, well, that helps. Paulino is in right field. This is on the ground to third base, and it is Ramirez across the diamond in time to get Myers 5-3 for 1 out. Jordan Smith is in right field.
Jordan Downtown Smith?
Jordan Smith in right field now.
See, now he won't turn around because, you know, we're trying to look for his number. Oh.
That is left field right there. And
That's right field.
Paulino.
That's right field right there.
That is right field right there, and that is Jordan Smith. Paulino is now in left field. On the ground into left field, a base hit off the bat of Renfroe. Stopping at third base is Guerra. And Paulino gets it back in, first and third.
Answering right back after Cleveland drops a 2 spot in the top half of the 6th, and the Padres making some noise here. Oh, Hunter Renfroe, boy, he's got so much going for him. Young kid, he's strong, and look at, even though he was fooled a little bit, he kept his hands back. Look at the back foot is off the ground, but look at the front leg. Stiff front leg, getting some power the upper half. Boy, getting that baseball, and that's a good, solid, compact swing. I'm looking for big things from this kid, Hunter Renfroe, this year.
First and third with 1 out, and Hector Sanchez coming up. First pitch strike for Crockett. Nick Buss taking over at first base for Hunter Renfroe. He's got plenty of playing time in the outfield for the Padres, and he'll likely be taking over in right field as he runs here for Renfroe. Guerra at third. And a quick check at first base on Buss. Back to the bag. And Boone Logan went an inning. Gave up a hit. No runs. The 2 runs the Padres have charged to the Cleveland starter, Kluber, today. Logan would strike out a batter, did not walk anybody. And the Indians today as a pitching staff with 5 Ks. 4 for the starter Kluber, 1 for Logan. And Crockett now working here in the 6th inning. On the ground right side, Martinez will try to start it to second for 1, on to first for 2. The 4-6-3 twin killing ends the 6th. It's a 3-2 Indians lead. As we get ready for the top of the 7th inning, this Copperhead telecast presented by authority of the San Diego Padres and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
What's that all about? Stealing my thunder.
I'm going to read it this year. I think it's great. I love it. It was awesome.
You're fired.
It was so
You're
good.
fired up.
Yeah. So it'd be okay with you, right? You don't care. I mean, it's not like it's a
hey,
thing
I'm a
with you or
team
anything.
player.
Right. Yeah. So there we go. Into the 7th inning. Eric Gonzalez leading it off here. It's 0 for 2 in the game. You've memorized it, which is unbelievable. That's a really long thing to memorize. How long did it take you to memorize that?
A couple years.
So they gave it to me by mistake. That's why I read it. I won't do it again.
That's okay.
It's your thing. That's what
I
you
will
do.
trade you the copyright for no shoes in the booth.
Oh, God. This cannot continue. I mean, this
it
is
will.
really gross. Very foul. I mean, there is booth etiquette, and then there's this.
I'll bring my slippers.
How about some soap next time you shower? 2-2.
Oh, Christian Friedrich needs a bounce back inning. Quick 1-2-3. Some hard hit balls last half inning when he was out there. Big gap in left center field.
Yeah, some hard hit balls right back at
Yeah.
him. A few too close for his liking.
You know, you can understand, especially in spring training, if you know pitching out there and you got some balls hit off the end of the bat, you're jamming guys and they're getting flares. And, you can live with that. Sure, it's frustrating, but when you're getting knocked around, right back up the box, hitting the sweet spot on that bat, that's it's even more frustrating.
Well, Christian Bethancourt is now catching for the Padres. This one down the right field line. And Buss headed over, but it's back into the seats. So first appearance behind the dish for Christian Bethancourt of the year. We've seen him relieve 4 times in pitching, but now catching his more familiar spot right in behind the dish right now, catching for the Padres.
He can do it all.
Play the outfield too.
Yeah.
Got to be weird for him though after all of this pitching going on and stretching it out during the spring. Look out. Bat goes into the seats in behind the dugout.
Oh, my goodness.
Looks like everybody's all right over there. A couple rows in behind the dugout.
Well, it looks like his grips may have been worn a little bit. Needs a little bit more pine tar, maybe. Maybe some more stickum.
No payoff pitch. And a pop-up, foul ground. Bethancourt coming back over by the Padres dugout, but no play. Into the seats. Into the dugout where a lot of the Padres were seated. His teammates trying to help out Christian Bethancourt, making his way over towards the dugout.
You got to watch out for your teammates, especially those foul balls over in the dugout. A nice job by Christian Bethancourt's teammates. Okay, ball is up. Everybody's aware of it. Okay, now you got to get into position to help your guy out. There you go.
Left center field falling fast, and that's going to get down. Headed for 2 is Gonzalez. Throw goes to second, and he's in there standing with a leadoff double to begin things here in the 7th inning.
By the way they were positioned in the outfield, he was thinking 2 the whole way. That left center field gap was open, wide open. Nick Buss was playing over towards the first base side of second base, and as soon as that ball was hit, Gonzalez was there. See where he's starting out. Buss, upper right, ball is hit. Now that's a long way to run for Blash and Buss. Is that Jankowski still in center?
I think so, yeah. I think Buss is in right.
0 for 6.
So runner at second.
Jeez Louise.
Richie Schaefer batting for the first time today. And the DH spot takes over for Bradley Zimmer, who had a tough day. Struck out 3 times. Twice against Weaver. And once against Friedrich. And Friedrich still in the game at 0-1. Hopped up foul back our way and out of play. Last year with Tampa Bay got into 20 games, but most of the year 119 of them at AAA Durham. The Durham Bulls. Oh, 2 and a little bit low, 1-2. So Weaver started 2 2/3, giving up a run. Andre Rienzo did a nice job at inning in a third without allowing a run, gave up a hit, and Friedrich on the hook right now has allowed a couple of runs since coming in, and Has now gone 2+. Swing and a miss, and Schaefer strikes out. So Friedrich needed that, and he gets Schaefer for the first out here in the 7th inning.
The high cheese. Boy, not a good day for the leadoff spot for Cleveland. 4 Ks. Schaefer, number 4.
And Ronnie Rodriguez now coming up. Took over at third base last inning defensively, and his numbers from AAA Columbus a year ago. Columbus at one time the longtime AAA home of the New York Yankees.
The Clippers.
The Clippers, Cooper Stadium.
Good stadium?
One of the older ones,
yeah.
of the AAA ballparks. That has all changed now.
They're all new now,
Oh,
right?
they're all double-decked and tremendous.
Beautiful.
Yep. We saw El Paso last year, the end of spring training. This is down the left field line in the air towards the pole, but it will go foul. Lots of distance, but a little bit to the left. The home of the El Paso Chihuahuas, the champion Chihuahuas from a year ago. Beautiful venue.
Spectacular.
You chose to take it off last year. Mark
Yes, I
Sweeney
did.
got more reps.
I hear the ball flies there, too.
Yes. Beautiful ballpark. This year, the Padres will be going to Lake Elsinore, the end of spring training, another affiliate, A-ball. I think it's cool they do that.
I do too.
Major league team come into town. And a chance for us really to see the guys that were coming up last year too. We'd already seen a lot of them during spring training and in that exhibition game.
You know, the adrenaline just pumps up a little extra when the kids play against the big league team. You've got the big league staff there. It's like pitching or playing in a spring training game. But before the season starts, some clubs even, they've done it before, where in the middle of the season they'll go to one of their affiliates and play on an off day.
Fouled back to the screen, 1-2.
I remember the Padres used to go to Mobile one year, middle of the season.
Wow.
Mobile. So Boch would have, he'd have, because the hometown crowd, they want to see the regulars. So they'd put the regulars in there. So then there'd be guys like Mike Tompkins, the video guy, a couple of the coaches like Tim Flannery would play. I pitched.
Really?
Yes, in Mobile. This
Wow.
must have been 10 years ago. So anyway, I'm out there pitching, right? I pitch one inning, I come back. I go out for the second inning. Craig Colbert was the manager of the Mobile team, which I was pitching against. Ben Johnson's in the dugout, and he comes up to the bat rack, and Ben Johnson yells, "Hey, what has this guy got?" And Craig Colbert looked at him, and he yelled at him. He goes, "It's their TV announcer. What do you mean, what has he got?"
Wow.
Isn't that funny?
Probably didn't expect to see the TV announcer in the
No.
game. I mean, that was a surprise, I'm sure. How did you do?
The first inning did okay. The second inning gave up a couple of runs. And Boch came out. Bruce Bochy was the manager at the time. And I got my game face on. "Hey, Boch, I can get this guy. Come on, leave me in there. Leave me in."
Talk your way
and I
in.
am just, oh, my gosh. I couldn't breathe. My arm was killing me. But I wanted to get that next guy out.
This is to left and struck well down towards the corner and the bullpen, and that ball is gone. A 2-run home run. Ronnie Rodriguez taking it out of the yard. And the Cleveland Indians have now taken a 5-2 lead thanks to that 2-run shot. They'll straighten it out and take it right out of the yard here in Peoria.
Well, sometimes if you don't get that breaking ball or fastball in enough, well, you can see that Rodriguez gets his hands through nicely and sends it on its way. Christian Friedrich just did not bury that ball in enough. Looked like he was trying to get it into the righty. And Rodriguez makes him pay.
Now that's going to be the day for Christian Friedrich, who leaves here with 1 out in the 7th inning after allowing the 2-run home run. It's now 5-2 Indians, the pitching change from Peoria.
leads San Diego 5-2. Party in the Park, presented by Southwest Airlines, returns for the 2017 season, featuring Cocktail Fest, Beer Fest, Wine Fest, and more. These pregame happy hours get you ready for Padre games every Friday night. For information and tickets, visit Padres.com/party.
That one out here in the inning, and now taking over is Tyrell Jenkins, who has started a couple games for the Padres during the spring. Greg Allen batting here now for the Indians, who have a 5-2 lead. Numbers again last year for Jenkins. Majority of the season at AAA Gwinnett in the Braves organization. A 24-year-old from Henderson, Texas. Last year got his first major league appearances, 14 games, 8 of them starts for the Atlanta Braves, and that's the reason he's been starting some games here for the Padres.
Yeah, you can tell he's a tall drink of water, 6'4", big kid, right? And Darren Balsley said before the game he doesn't care about stats today. He wants one thing for Jenkins: to work on top of the baseball, stay on top of the baseball, get a good downward plane towards home plate. Sometimes pitchers have a tendency to work around the baseball or underneath it. Stay on top of it.
Ground ball moving to his right. Zuniga will flip to Jenkins, and a nice athletic play to come down with that. Leaping in the air and then finding the bag. And retiring Allen 3-1. Nice play.
Thank goodness that 6'4" frame covering first base. As soon as that ball is struck, Jenkins is over there. You know, everybody can anticipate the good throw. How about the bad throw? Good athletic move by Jenkins.
And I know you like the stirrups.
I love the stirrups. That's going late 70s Pony League.
Jordan Smith coming up here. Two outs, bases empty here for the Indians. They have already scored twice in the inning. The 2-run home run by Ronnie Rodriguez. So 2 1/3 innings today for Christian Friedrich. Six hits and 4 runs charged to Friedrich in his outing. Didn't walk anybody and struck out 2. And on the hook right now with the Indians on top 5-2. The Cleveland batting in the top of the 7th inning. Smith will sky one down the left field line, overcomes Blash, and Jabari makes the catch that ends the inning. Well, Fox Sports and the entire television sports family lost a legend this week. Director in sports broadcasting Hall of Famer Bill Webb directed 17 World Series, 19 league championships, and 18 All-Star games. Few people have had a more significant impact on how fans watch baseball. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family and all who knew him. Bill Webb was 70 years old. for the bottom of the 7th. But first, let's send it down to Bob Scanlon. Bob?
Hey, thanks, Don. I'm here with Hector Sanchez. Hector, congratulations. A couple of nice hits today. The timing's starting to come together for you at the plate?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, finally.
Takes a little while sometimes early in spring with those fastballs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about it. You have to work every day, try to get your timing back, and, keep working.
Now, switch hitter, does one side of the plate come more naturally to you than the other, or is there one that takes a little more time to get in sync?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I feel more comfortable from the left side, and the right side still working on it. But probably the left side is my favorite one.
There was a lot of talk about the weight that you lost during the offseason, coming into camp in great shape. Now, is this a return to a previous fighting weight for you, or is this something new?
No, I mean, it's something new. Before I've been working with my weight, but I put in my mind the off-season, coming in the best shape I can be. And, I see the result, and I feel proud of the work I've been putting in Venezuela.
Yeah, it's interesting. We know it's going to be better on your knees as a catcher, but some people talk about the center of gravity hitting. Do you have any concerns that it might hit your hitting or your power?
No, absolutely not. For hit, you just need a bat in your hand, so you don't need the belly. But, I don't think about that. I just try to be in shape and try to play the most games I can. It's a long season, so you have to be in shape for that.
A lot of work for catchers. Not only got to learn both sides of the plate, but also you got to learn a whole new pitching staff. How's that going for you?
Absolutely. You have to talk with the guys, try to learn more every day, talk to them, and the way they like to work. And this is all about it, try to get good relationship with them, and, try to be on the same page when it's all about it, communication is more important.
Nice to see the bomb right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jabari Blash with another long ball. It looks like he's been swinging great. Sticking with the talk about the pitching staff right now, you've had a chance to face some of these guys in the National League West. Does that help you at all in terms of trying to call a game for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I face those guys. We got Chassin. I'll be facing him a lot, and they help me to learn about that guy, what kind of situation he wants to throw, any kind of pitches, and that helped me, because I face all those guys a lot.
I would imagine it helps you a little bit, too, in terms of, hey, I faced you. Here's what I saw on the pitch. Can you help some guys maybe in terms of pitch selection, having faced them?
Yeah, absolutely. I told him, like I told you about Chassin, I talked to him a lot about it, I told him, hey, if you throw that pitch in that situation, in that count, probably that will work better for you. So we're talking about it, and probably that helped during the season.
You're from Venezuela. What is going on the Venezuelan World Baseball Classic team right now? They lost to Puerto Rico, barely get by Italy. Are you cheering those guys on?
Absolutely, 100%. I support my teammates, my guy, my Venezuelan team. So I've been with them, all the support and the best wish for them.
Hector, thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
All right, Don, back up to you.
All right, Bob, thanks very much. Well, Hector Sanchez has been playing a little first base during spring training, too, trying to add to his versatility.
Gotta love having a guy like Hector Sanchez. You can tell his personality as a catcher. Having to get to know all the pitchers like Bob was talking about, not only their stuff, but their personalities and how to work with them. And to have a guy like that with that type of attitude, I think goes a long way. Catcher, you got to have a great attitude.
He certainly does, and last year contributing a lot along with Derek Norris.
And he works hard. We saw him block a ball that got away from him, but he did everything, as far as technique correctly.
And he did come into camp in terrific shape this year. 7 catchers here in spring training, and Carlos Azuaje didn't like strike 2 and like strike 3 even less, and is rung up by Dan Merzel.
Fastball down and away at the knees. How close is it? Watch the glove. Oh, yeah, that's a strike. That looks like a darn good strike. Azuaje trying to sell it by going to first base, but looked pretty good from here.
Steve Delabar, the 4th pitcher used today for Terry Francona, and it is Brett Wallace, who is 0 for 2 in the game, has struck out twice. Total of 5 strikeouts for Indians pitching. Seven catchers in camp. You got Bethancourt, who's one of those guys included, even though he has made 4 relief appearances, is now catching in this game for the Padres.
Is that funny?
It is amazing.
More appearances on the hill than behind the plate.
Yeah, today just the first time that he has caught.
And you know what? There's a kid who's got a lot on his plate. No pun intended, because Last year we saw him throwing like a catcher. So if you want to go on the hill, you got to change the arm angle to get more of a good arm swing, to get good extension. So he's got a lot to work on.
And then you go back to catching and throwing it where you did before. Kind of coming from your ear area.
Yeah. Quick snap throw from the ear. You're right.
Carve foul off the left. Still 1-2. Steve Delabar checking in here for the Indians. Took over for Crockett this inning. Welcome rudely by Jabari Blash, who took him out of the yard for Jabari. His 5th home run of spring training. Strike 3, and Wallace strikes out for the 3rd time today. Back-to-back Ks for Delabar. Wallace has a few things to say on the way by. You know, Delabar last year, AAA Louisville, appeared in 17 games, a 2.63 ERA. Did get up to the big leagues for 7 games with Cincinnati.
Kept the ball in the yard nicely. Only 2 round trippers and 24 innings of work. Not bad.
2 down in the inning, and it brings up Dusty Coleman.
Nice little slider there.
Delabar with big league time, not only with Cincinnati last year, but prior to that with Toronto and Seattle. .33-year-old right-hander. And a good pitch. 0-2.
Hey, hooray for the 33-year-old.
From Fort Knox, Kentucky. He'll turn 34 in July. So Franchi Cordero has come out on deck here for the Padres to bat for Travis Jankowski. If we get that far, there are 2 outs here in the 7th inning. And Coleman goes down after fouling it off himself.
Those hurt. Look at that. I mean, that'll literally bring you to your knees. Depending where he got that one, off the ankle, off the toe, off the shin. Oh, the back knee, right?
Yes. Paul Navarro, the trainer out there with Andy Green.
He's not coming out of this game. Right?
No, probably not.
Dusty Coleman wants his 3rd at-bat.
1 for 2 already today. Single to center in the 3rd. Lined out to first base sharply in the 5th. That was right at Willie Mopena. Five runs, 11 hits, no errors for the Indians. 3 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the Padres. 1-2. And a pop-up foul off to the right as Mejia gives it a look, but it's back and out of play. Low and away, and it's 2-2. Outfield straightaway here. Dusty Coleman batting out of the 9 spot. Has a home run this spring and very versatile in the infield and the outfield. Ooh, close pitch.
Delabar pretty basic, right? 4-seam fastball, a little tight slider, trying to work the corners, work it down. Always working from the stretch.
Veteran trying to find his way back to the big leagues again.
Hey.
And when he bounced well short of home plate and walks Coleman. So Dusty Coleman's on with 2 outs in the inning. And Delabar a little frustrated with that last delivery. As I mentioned, Franchi Cordero coming up here. takes over for Travis Jankowski, who was 1 for 3 today. Jankowski had singled to center field in the 5th. 137 games for him last year, 11 home runs. And a ground ball to first, knocked down by Willie Mopena. He'll stay with it and tag the bag to retire the side. Home run by Jabari Blash. It's 5-3 Indians. Eighth inning on a hot day in Peoria, Arizona. Good crowd on hand here today for Sunday baseball between the Padres and the visiting Cleveland Indians. Send it down to Bob Scanlon.
Hey, thanks, Don. Here with Travis Jankowski. Travis, congratulations. Another hit today. How's the timing coming along for you?
Yeah, it's coming along nice. A lot of work in the cage with Alan Zinter and our AAA hitting coach, Morgan Burkhart. And, yeah, a lot of work in that cage, a lot of early work, but it's paying off.
You know, we always talk about the ebbs and flows of spring training where the pitchers are ahead early on, then the hitters catch up, then the dead arm period. Where are you? Where do you think the hitters are at this point? Are you catching up to the fastballs? Is it now getting used to the off-speed pitches? Where are we in that ebb and flow?
Yeah, I would say that you kind of hit the nail on the head there. We're on the time with the fastball, and now we're kind of seeing those curveballs and the changeups and trying to figure out how to hit those. But, yeah, I'd say the pitchers still have a little advantage, but I think we got 2 weeks left, so we got some time to catch up.
You know, a lot of ABs for you so far this spring. Second most, I think, on the ball club. Good thing for you to get the extra exposure?
Always a good thing. I'll take as many at-bats as I can get. You know, I never feel too comfortable in the box, but, you know, getting all the at-bats kind of eases the tension and then really gets me going.
How about facing a guy like Kluber today? It's got to be a nice little tester for you to face a former Cy Young Award winner and a lefty and to get a hit off.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he had some good stuff today. Threw me one cutter that moved probably, say, 18 inches. But, yeah, there's a reason he's a Cy Young winner, and it's always good to face those guys to kind of see where you're at and judge where you're at in spring.
I see a lot of guys following the World Baseball Classic in the clubhouse. United States, tough loss to the Dominican Republic. A little bit of smack talking by the Dominican guys in the clubhouse today?
Yeah, they were talking a little bit. We kind of zone them out. But there's definitely some smack talk going on. So hopefully the USA can pull it out, and hopefully they get a rematch there.
All right, sounds good. Travis, thanks for the time.
Thanks, Bob.
All right, Travis Jankowski, having a nice spring so far. Guys, back to you.
All right, Bob, thanks very much. Yeah, you get a hit today off Corey Kluber. And looking more comfortable against left-handers so far during the spring for Travis Jankowski.
Like he said, anytime you get an AB off Corey Kluber, former Cy Young Award winner, you get some success.
Mejia with a home run to open up this top of the 8th inning for the Indians. And Jenkins battles back by striking out. Paulino strikes out.
Oh, it looked like a tight slider right on the outside corner. Nice pitch by Jenkins.
So 1 out. And a strike over the outside corner. Willie Mopena Grounding one down the third baseline, foul. Pena took over for Nelly Rodriguez, who left the game with an injury. Getting a new bat after fracturing that one. Pena singled in his first at bat in the 6th inning. Down on the count, 0-2. Terrell Jenkins out there for his 2nd inning of relief. Look out, buzzes him up and in.
You know, for a big kid, Jenkins, I think, has got good solid mechanics. He stays over the rubber nicely and explodes towards home plate, right over the top. As I mentioned last inning, staying on top of the ball, not working around it. Good breaking ball there.
Struck well to left, and that ball was headed towards the berm in left field and gone. Willie Mopena still with good power. It's a home run out to left center. 2nd home run of the inning for the Indians. And they up their lead to 7-3. Willie Mopena, who did not play last year, still has very good power.
Good breaking ball, just caught too much of the plate. And a breaking ball that speeds up the bat of Pena. That's the pitch prior, backing up Pena, and then Jenkins elects to go with the breaking ball, maybe buying that outside part, but he just didn't get it out there enough. It was a hanger, and he sent it to the left center field berm.
Well, Eric Stamets batting for the first time, took over at 2nd base. Franchi Cordero now in center field. His move over towards right center. And into the game is Alan Cordoba now in left field. Well, 3-1 here to Stamets with pitcher coming out on deck. Yu Chang is on deck.
You know, this kid's got an interesting name. Stamets the right way and Stamets the backwards. So it's just one letter that's different.
You're right. You know, he's going to walk and head down to first base with 1 out. And they'll bring Darren Balsley out here to the mound, the pitching coach, to talk to him.
As I mentioned earlier, that was the one thing that Darren wanted today, to stay on top of the baseball and work downhill. See how he's motioning with his hand kind of downhill a little bit? Remember, I talked about staying on top of the baseball and working downhill. Well, sometimes pitchers will, you know, out of the, you know, your front side flies open and maybe you work around the ball this way. What are you laughing at?
They're in my ear in the truck. Go ahead.
And, you know, they come out of the ball this way. Well, Darren wants Jenkins to stay on top of the ball, get extended, and get that good rotation out in front this way. Stay on top of the baseball, not like this way. Stay on top. Bam.
But when it comes off your fingers, where's the rotation?
12-6. 12-6.
Batter just getting hit and heading down to first base. 2 on with 1 out of the inning. Get another look here. Coming inside.
Yeah, got the jersey, it looked like. Yep.
Barely. He'll take it. First and second now with 1 out. Swing and a miss for Schaefer. Struck out swinging in the 7th inning. I didn't mean to laugh at your demonstration. I wasn't laughing at you.
Of course not.
I was laughing with you. The truck was giving some suggestions. Action.
Oh, hey.
Pen. Whoa.
Wow.
Exploding off the mound there. Oh, 2 the count to Schaefer. Jenkins has had a tough inning in the inning. 2 home runs allowed. Mejia and Pena have both homered. Walk and a hit batter. 2 on, 1 out, and a 1-2 pitch coming up here to Schaefer. And a swing and a miss. Schaefer strikes out. Needed that. And Jenkins gets him for the second out. Both the outs coming by way of the K.
High heater. Can't catch up to it. And once again, the leadoff position today for Cleveland, 5 strikeouts.
Yeah, the combination of Bradley Zimmer and Richie Schaefer. 3 for Zimmer, 2 for Schaefer. Now Ronnie Rodriguez. Stamets at second base, Chang at first. And a swing and a miss. Been challenging a little bit more here.
I think that's one of the things. I mean, I can't read minds, but Darren Balsey, remember, went out there, he had a motion with his hand downhill, get on top of it. Hey, concentrate on that. Once again, he said he doesn't care about numbers today with Jenkins. He just wants to see him make an adjustment, and it looks like he's doing that. Good stand on top of the breaking ball as well. Nice slider right there. He's 6'4", straight up. Maybe kind of an abbreviated slide step there, but if you're quick out in front, you got to be quick on the backside to get that arm up top to get that breaking ball down in the zone.
Nice swing and a miss, and he chases and strikes out. Does Ronnie Rodriguez? Well, 2 home runs in the inning. It is 7-3 Indians. San Diego Padres, and a new pitcher on. Travis Banward into the game now for the Indians.
Well, 31-year-old from Wichita, Kansas, signed back in 2007. Spent some few seasons over in Korea. Trying to make it back to the bigs here in the United States.
Javi Guerra's first plate appearance of the afternoon after taking over defensively a couple of innings ago. And Guerra last year in Lake Elsinore, 105 games. Lake Elsinore for Guerra. Swing and a miss, evens it counted 1-1.
He's got the fastball, tight little breaking ball, and he mixes in a changeup once in a while. Banwart.
You don't know that. You're making up. You don't know anything about him.
Yes, I did. Watch. There's the changeup.
This one is fouled.
That was the changeup.
Unbelievable. How am I supposed to believe that the other stuff is true if you go ahead and make up his repertoire? I take it, on face value that when you say what a guy throws, it's
We've seen
true.
the fastball and changeup, right?
Uh-huh.
Look at there's another changeup.
Swing and a miss, goes around and strikes out.
Here's the last pitch from Ben, where you can see him turn it over. Changeup. Can't hold up.
I'm going to do that from now on. Guy comes in the game. He's got a fastball, curveball, slider. Here's the pitch. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here is Brad Zunica. Took over at first base defensively for the Padres. 15th round selection by the Padres. 2015 out of the University of Miami. Slaps it foul back and out of play. First time we've seen him during the spring here in big league camp. Took over for Will Myers at first base.
I'm sure Jesse Agler's just going nuts right about now with Zunica up at the plate.
He also went to the U.
Yeah. According to Jesse, it's all about the U.
Yeah. Numbers at Fort Wayne, 110 games in A-ball last year. In the air to center field. Greg Allen out there for the Indians, and he'll take care of out number 2. So 2 down. That'll bring up Nick Buss.
Well, if you go to your local pharmacy and you go in the section like where the compound W is, you'll probably find some Banwart right next to it.
Travis Banwart with 2 outs here in the inning.
Sounds like something you're getting from your pharmacist.
Yes. Something you don't want. Nick Buss, 30 years of age. Resides in Costa Mesa, California. And a ground ball towards first base. Pena will take it himself to the bag. And end the inning, a 1-2-3-8. 7-3 Indians. On top of the San Diego Padres, and we're talking title droughts. Let's take a look. The Cleveland Indians, 68 years into the game, but changing that. The Lions at 58, losing Maple Leafs 49, and the Atlanta Hawks 48. Some long droughts. The Indians were so close to breaking that last year, and they've got a very good team going into this year. Kevin Quackenbush into the game now, as Quackenbush becomes the 5th Padres pitcher of the day. 60 appearances last year. up and down a few times last year with the Padres, of course, to El Paso. 3.92 earned run average for him.
Yeah, you know what? You take a look at Kevin Quackenbush's career, and you got to really give kudos to this kid. They're 5 times up and down. Last couple of years, 3-4 times, it's like back and forth. And you know that does stuff to you mentally. But he's kept it together, and when needed, answers the call. He's had some rough outings, but had a lot of good outings as well for Kevin Quackenbush. Good curveball. He's developed a cutter here in spring training, so keep an eye out for that. He's letting the hair grow, too, not only on the beard, but on the top.
I saw him at dinner the other night. I didn't even recognize him because he's got a good flow on top. Didn't have that last year. Beard's always been flowing, but not so much with the hair, but now he does.
I saw him also, and I said, you know what, if you've got a chance to flaunt it, man. Don't shave it. Yeah, go with it.
Takes over for Terrell Jenkins. There's a ground ball foul. Jenkins ended up giving up a couple of home runs in the 8th inning. Mejia with a solo shot, and Willie Mopena also with a solo home run. Working the lines and making some plays down in foul ground.
What a treat for him, huh?
Great day at the yard.
Big league uni, get a chance to field some grounders, some foul balls.
Throws a fastball, curveball, and a slider.
Oh, Quack? Yeah.
No, the kid down
the kid. Yeah, giving the scouting report on him.
2-2 is high.
This kid's got a good fastball. He'll sink it both sides of the plate.
Over the top, and then it rolls.
Working on the changeup.
Payoff pitch from Quackenbush. Then it's chop foul outside of first. I know you spent a long time with Darren Balsley going over each pitcher in camp, and there are so many here.
That's amazing.
28 total he's working with.
And let's not forget Doug Bachler.
Yep.
And the other pitching coaches that are in big league camp.
Strike 3. Quackenbush able to freeze Allen for the first out here of the 9th.
Well, we heard Bob Scanlon talking about it. We heard Jared Weaver talking about it. Command of the fastball here in spring training. There are some times when pitchers go out there and that's all they're going to throw. You've got Morgan Burkhart. You've got Darren Balsley, Doug Bachler, Rod Barajas, Andy Green, Mark McGuire.
Barajas, of course, the manager of the El Paso Chihuahuas championship team last year. Did a great job.
I heard they got some sweet-looking rings coming, too, for the Chihuahuas.
It's a great logo.
Yeah.
One runs up and away. Quackenbush falling behind here, 2-0. Light breeze now blowing in on what has been a very hot afternoon in Peoria. Quackenbush falling behind 3-0. There's a strike, 3-1. Now the wind has shifted and is blowing out. It changes a lot here.
It does.
3-1 pitch is grounded foul.
Got to be on your toes.
Okay, so that flag's doing something different than that flag's doing. That's why it messed me up.
Which flag you looking at?
The American flag down the right field line. This kid's making some nice plays down here, by the way. Oh.
Hey, nice. Planted his feet, made the adjustment, two-handed grab. Nicely done.
Found another little guy to give it to. Back off of Quackenbush, kicks out towards second. Jose Rondon's throw is in time. Nicely done. 1-4-3 on the putout at first base. 2 down here in the 9th. And that brings up Francisco Mejia, who homered Last inning off Terrell Jenkins. Two down here in the top of the ninth. Quackenbush, last year starting the year on the major league roster, ended up going back to El Paso a couple of different times last year. Just finished the year in the major leagues. That's a strike, and it's 1-1. Quackenbush, 28 years old, from Land O'Lakes, Florida. This will be his 4th season with the Padres. Slap foul down the left field line, and it's 1-2. Originally an 8th-round pick in 2011. Actually saved a couple games last year for the Padres after Fernando Rodney left, and it was a role that he was very comfortable in when he did it.
Had a big year in the minor leagues, closing out games, so he's used to that role. Oh,
where'd that one get him? In some real pain.
Looks like that guard's not doing much, huh?
Not where it got him. I think it got him higher than that.
Oh, above the knee on the inside.
Has to jump back out of the way. Quackenbush coming right back in there again.
Guess maybe something down and away here.
Popped up right side as Jose Rondon will give way to nobody. It falls in behind him on the grass. Rondon lost it. That bus coming in behind him, but it is a base hit to right field, and having trouble getting down the line was Mejia. Well, pop up here.
Oh, you know what? I don't think he ever saw it. He just anticipated that ball being hit harder to right field, it looks like.
He's also looking over at Zuniga, the first baseman. Well, Mejia trying to run after he had fouled the ball off his inner thigh area.
You know, for getting hit as hard as he did, he was getting down the baseline quite well.
Got a pinch runner for him now.
Kipnis. I don't know if that's Jason Kipnis.
No.
He's wearing number 22.
That's not Jason Kipnis.
Yeah, we got 2 22s.
In there for strike one. Paulino batting here for the second time. Paulino struck out looking in the 8th. You know who's at first base?
Todd Hankins.
Foul back to the screen, and it's still 0-2. $60 games out of the Padres pen last year for Quackenbush, 9 for him in El Paso. It's the most he'd ever had at the major league level. In the 50s in appearances in 2014 and 15 with San Diego.
You know, it was the home run that got him last year, surrendering 16. So once in a while, you're going to get burned on a fastball, but as far as the innings pitched for Quackenbush, 16, that's what he needs to cut down, and he knows that.
This one line to right. Nick Buss is over, but that's going to fall in front of him for a base hit. Heading for third is Hankins. He'll get there on the single by Paulino, and it's first and third.
Stand corrected, 8 home runs, 16 total. So 8 was big home runs.
First and third, 2 down.
So half giving up last year,
right,
in his whole career.
First and third, 2 down. Limo Pena homering his last time up to left center. To right field down the line. Buss on the run, battling the sun. It's going to fall foul. Down in that right field corner. So Pena, who hit a home run to left center, this time sending that ball to deep right, but a foul ball. Quackenbush ahead in the count, 0-2.
I would give him hard stuff down and away, and I'd go up and out of the zone here with a fastball. You throw him a breaking ball, you better get it out of the zone. If you leave it hanging in the zone.
Fastball up that misses, and it's 1-2. Two and two the count.
There's the hammer.
Maybe thought about it, but a full count down. The career numbers for Quackenbush. 173 games, he allowed 16 home runs. Right. 3.50 ERA. Fourth year coming up.
I stand corrected. 8 last year. There's that cut fastball that he's been working on. Pretty good pitch.
Well, he got ahead of him 0-2, but can't finish him off, and it's ball 4 for Pena, and this will load the bases. Well, Eddie Green out to get Quackenbush here with the bases loaded and 2 down in the 9th inning. And Quackenbush could not finish it off here. The Indians have a 7-3 lead. Pitching change from Peoria. Outs here in the 9th inning, and Jose Ruiz into the game here for the Padres, a converted catcher. In fact, prior to last year, had spent the majority of 5 seasons as a catcher in the minor leagues for the Padres, and now last year as a pitcher, converting last season and doing so here during the spring as well. In there for strike 1.
Live arm from Ruiz. And that's quite an adjustment, and good numbers we saw last season for the right-hander.
From Venezuela, only 22 years old. Mentioned 5 seasons in the minor leagues, but that'll run down and in. Mike Pappy pinch running at first base for Willie Mo Pena. In the air to deep left field. Back goes Cordoba looking up, and that is gone into the bullpen. A grand slam, and that'll certainly open up things here. Now 11-4. Eric Stamets taking it out of the yard here. 3 of those runs will be charged to Quackenbush.
Hanging breaking ball. He wanted it down and away. It was right down the middle, speeding up the bat. And he sent it on its way.
Now Chang, who got hit earlier, not going to hit here as this one is fouled back. One. And a strike at the knees, 1-2. So Quackenbush goes 2/3 of an inning. Gives up a total of 2 hits and charged with 3 of the 4 runs. A walk and a K for Quackenbush today. A tough sequence against Willie Mo Pena, which you got ahead of him 0-2, ended up walking him.
Looked like kind of got squeezed a little bit too. That was on that cut fastball.
Fouled straight back, still 2-2.
Are we going to have the hitting challenge this year of you and I facing off, battling?
Hitting?
Battle Royale.
We could do that. Are you going to? Am I going to face you?
Yes, I'm going to pitch to you.
I don't know about that, because you could be a little bit on the wild side, and I don't want to get hit.
I think we should make it happen.
This stage of your career,
I've got pretty good control.
And you still probably throw relatively hard. Ground ball to shortstop. Guerra's throw is in time and ends the inning. But a big inning again for the Indians, on top now 11-3. the San Diego Padres. A grand slam in the top half of the inning. And the Padres trying to make some noise here in the bottom of the ninth inning.
Left-hander Tyler Olson will close it out here with the 11-3 lead for Cleveland. Left-hander. This kind of reminds you of Robbie Erlin a little bit.
Mike Pappy has taken over at first base for Willie Mo Pena. Pappy had pinch run and stays in the game. Christian Bethancourt batting for the first time today. Bethancourt catching for the first time today in a spring training game this spring. And he chops one towards shortstop. Chang on the high hop. Little double pump. And it becomes relatively close at first, but Bethancourt is out number one.
He's getting down the line quickly.
Yes, he was. Made it very close.
Good hustle by Christian Bethancourt. Gotta love it.
Alan Cordoba coming up here now. Olson with a 1-0 pitch, and a soft breaking ball drops in there for a strike. Cordoba from Panama. Padres taking him in the Rule 5 draft as he fouls it off himself. Last year at Johnson City in rookie ball. Originally signed by the St. Louis Cardinals as a non-drafted free agent. Again, the Padres taking him in the Rule 5 draft. One of 4 players Padres selected in the Rule 5 draft. Ground ball up the middle, and that'll find its way into center field. Base hit for Cordoba with 1 out here in the 9th inning. So 1 out, 1 on. Jose Rondon coming up here for the Padres. Took over for Carlos Azuaje at second base. Azuaje today was 1 for 3 with a double back in the 5th inning.
We got a new shortstop, Don.
It's Willie Castro's now at short. Buzzed inside for ball 1. Jose Rondon from Venezuela. Split last year between AA San Antonio and AAA El Paso. Fouled off to the right, and it's now 2-1. Jose Rondon batting with 1 out and 1 on, and a quick throw to first base, relatively close, but back to the bag was Cordoba. Lead a little bit extended that time, and Olson noticed. Outside for ball 3. Luis Torrens has come out on deck now for the Padres. He would bat in the spot of Brett Wallace, the DH. Popped up foul back in our direction and out of play. Indians adding on a grand slam in the top of the 9th inning. Have an 11-3 lead with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th. Fly ball hit pretty well to right. Jordan Smith out there in the sun field right now makes the catch. Shy of the track for the 2nd out of the 9th inning. So Rondon retired. Takes it the other way, but not deep enough. Luis Torrens now coming up for the Padres. Coming over from the Cincinnati Reds. Torrens last year at A-ball, Staten Island and Charleston. Runner goes. No stolen base. Defensive indifference as Cordoba takes second base. On the ground towards third base, off the bag and off the glove at third, and back at third base and safe. Getting back was Cordoba. Ronnie Rodriguez able to knock it down, had no play at first, but tried to make a play at third. Cordoba rounding third. So now first and third with 2 down.
Looked like Rodriguez kind of deaconed the runner as if he was going to make that throw. Because a lot of runners, with 2 outs, okay, it's possibly the last out of the game. I'm just going to, just round third, and he's going to throw to first. Well, quickly getting back, help from Glenn Hoffman, third base coach.
First and third, 2 down. And Coleman pops it up foul ground. Pappy and Chu headed over, but that'll end up in the seats beyond the Padres dugout. Wilson has 2 outs here in the inning, but the Padres have runners at first and third. Coleman singled in the 3rd, lined out to first in the 5th, and then walked last time up in the 7th. Oh, 1. And a swing and a miss. Runner takes second base. Torrens had time with nobody holding him on. Defensive indifference. Oh, 2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Coleman strikes out, and that ends the ball game. So the Indians win this one 11-3. We'll step aside. Get back with more from Peoria after this.